Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Rage Gaming Home Store Weekly Modern on Wednesdays, round one. And boy, oh boy, welcome to the magical Christmas. If those who do not know, it is BNR weekend. I'm Dom Stryker alongside May, and we are on our way. May, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Perfect.
I love this new modern we're in. I love that, it's 2016. We're back to the good old days. We're casting Green Sun Zeniths. We're doing Faithless Looting stuff.
Yes.
I see there's a frog in Ryan's hand, so we still got the frog. So it's like
Right.
the old and the new all coming together.
Yes. So, one of the fun parts is a lot of changes going on. So, a part of that is players didn't have time to submit deck lists, so we get to kind of play along with the folks at home.
Oh, fun.
But we do have Isaac. I heard him yell across the room, "Thank you for those Green Sun Zeniths." And then we saw his prime times, so we're like, got it. And then Ryan here showcasing tons of discard outlets, and I saw both Unearth, Persist, Frogs, and Archons, and Eyeballs.
Ooh. Okay, the Persist Archon is something that I've seen people doing before, and that's like really, really cool. Because it's like, it's not just enough to unearth an eyeball. You really want to go like super duper over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I suspect we also will see maybe creativity gamers tonight.
There's creativity currently in the backup.
Okay, Red and Six re-entering the chat.
Red and Six has re-entered the chat. I also know some people are trying Grixis creativity. There's a lot of room to play around right now. And like we said, Isaac here playing Green Sun Zenith, Prime Time, Amulet Titan, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of these pieces are still going to feel the same, but they got to replace a lot of the air with just 4 more tuners.
Right. And who's the word?
Yes, exactly, right. You got to replace literally that same slot of like, oh no, what do I do with my card that dug through my deck? 4 more Prime Titans.
Right. Speaking of the One Ring, I think my favorite storyline so far is the Boros energy deck taking, they lose the Amp Wrap, they lose the One Ring. So they lose 8 cards, but it's no big deal. You just put 4 Village Bellman, 4 Titan, and 5 Elite.
I've seen people doing that. I've seen people adding FOMO for the same reason.
That is a do not let that
deck to kind of churn through the Delirium, things like a Bobble, a DRC, and Rooting, and then turning Boros into a FOMO twin deck.
I will play.
So.
Do you think FOMO is real? Like, is FOMO like a real thing, or people just...
I'll play.
It is a cheaper target. So the part that I think is going to be important is in the same way that I have felt Brood Scale to be a huge upgrade from Yawgmoth because things are so much cheaper to do. That might just be the case that FOMO could be a worse card, but just a better mana efficiency on your combo, but it doesn't even have Flash.
But I'm also like, oh, okay, so you can go infinite and make Choke Walker?
Shocking.
Yeah.
Also, back up, is this technically
Stevens.
on a...
Korean
I
Stevens.
saw
Not to start reading.
pointing at Ryan's graveyard.
So the easiest way to know actually is if
Go.
it still enters tapped, because if Echoing Deep doesn't copy anything, it enters as an untapped waste, more or less.
Okay.
So because we saw it enter tapped, it means Isaac wanted access to a big mana source. And what's great is, on top of everything we're talking about, right, it being the new season, the unbans, everything, Isaac is still probably going to make 2 big card constructs here and throw them at his Grixis opponent until he gives up, right? Like, the more things change, the more they stay the same, in that the pieces of these decks are still incredibly powerful, modern power level, but they have new toys to play with alongside them.
Also, wait, there's a Valakut in play.
Yes.
This is, so we're really going back to 2016.
Yes.
We've got Valakuts and
The Dryad.
And the Dryad, yeah.
Yes, so I will have to see, as you know, this is brand new, fresh Titan. I've seen people with a single Aftermath Analyst, a single Lumra, a single Dryad of the Elysian Grove, and then some like beautiful flex. I've seen people that do have Dryad Arbors to make sure their Green Sun Zeniths be actual Explorer. I have seen decks playing like a one of Sylvan Safekeeper, because you kind of get to start doing the Nadu loops with your Aftermath Analyst and your Safekeepers while keeping stuff safe. But also we get to understand that Green Sun Zenith for our Boreal Grazer lets it still act as an Explorer and then shuffle right back into that deck.
It literally is. It is an Explorer.
Yes, right? So
It's like 2 Explorers.
like 2 Explorers.
No, that's a joke.
Oh, God. I was like, oh, no.
no. Every time I think about Explorer, I think about the YouTube video where the guy's like, no, 2 Explorers.
Oh, Ryan, I am seeing the actual factual card Unearth, but the target in hand is Archon. But we're also
Just
seeing,
passed?
because we have Bitter Triumph counterspells. So I think
Oh.
Ryan's plan is to stem the bleeding,
Okay.
pitch this Archon through the Frog if he's in the mood to try blocking.
Well, can he pitch it through the Bitter Triumph?
Yes, right. Either direction. So depending on what Ryan is afraid of, he knows he can get this Archon out of his hand. He just can't get it out of the yard.
And also being a lot more patient, I think, than I would be. I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm slamming this Archon into play. Showing a lot of restraint, understanding that maybe double interaction spell is important against Primetime. Because Primetime is a deck where, geez, for like a decade now, it just feels like
Right.
it feels like you look across the table and they're doing nothing, and then you're like, oh, I'm dead.
Yes.
I died.
I think that was a big experience. If folks are watching coverage of NRG Champs this last weekend, in the semifinals, Steven Dykman's playing against Dom Harvey, and he's doing the Amulet Titan thing. They're in game 2, not a lot's happening. And then Dom goes, I'm going to begin to demonstrate a loop. And you're like, uh-oh.
Oh, no.
And that's the thing about Titan, right, is Isaac knows that he has a lot of time. He gets to play this Construct game. This Echoing Deep is another Urza Saga. Ryan is now using kind of 2 cards, a block from this Frog, to try to deal with this Construct.
That's kind of sick, actually. So he paid the life for the Triumph,
Mm-hmm.
discarded it to the Frog, and actually gets both Construct tokens.
Right, because for folks at home to know, like the first Construct was 3 power. That one gets destroyed to the Bitter Triumph. Now it becomes a 2/2. The Archon through the Frog gets Ryan a 2/3, and he's allowed to block that Construct. So uses kind of 2 of the cards in his hand plus the ability of his Frog to try to clean it up. But it's here.
Here
Ding,
it
ding,
is.
ding, ding.
All right.
This is Green Sun for 3. I'm going to assume for a Dryad because Isaac already has Valakut set up.
I think it's a Green Sun for nothing, and then he goes right to the graveyard.
And this counterspell, one of the few ways to get Green Sun Zenith actually into your graveyard, as it is not getting shuffled back in when it is countered. And yeah, I can see Isaac had
No.
2, maybe 3 lands in hand. He was ready to try to set up.
Ryan, no. It has reach. It has reach, Ryan.
I think Ryan might be recognizing that this Unearth isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
I wonder if you're Ryan, you may have wanted to cycle it first and then pitch the card you found if you don't like it. But I think we all learn that Arboreal Grazer has reach every
Yeah.
now and again.
I certainly learn a day in it. I only know because I have the God view, right? So I get
Yes.
I get to see what all the cards do. But
I had that using Arboreal Grazer against a local. Folks locally are starting to latch back on to playing Infect. I don't know if you noticed when you're playing out in the field, but
yeah.
every now and again a couple Infect players will pop back in. And I was playing Titan against one of them and realized how incredible Arboreal Grazer is against Infect. I was like, this thing blocks your Crusader. I'm going to block your Elf. I'm going to block your Inkmoth Nexus. And they got so mad at just looking at 2 Arboreal Grazers and realizing they just can't get through for damage.
So Blazing Shoal, safe unban.
It's so weird. Like, maybe? I don't know what they would pitch into it. I wasn't there in the good old days.
Progenitus.
Progenitus.
Yeah.
You recently printed in Foundations. So easy to get access to.
Yeah. No, I don't. I think that's probably not a safe unban. Okay, we're giving the Frog flying again? What are we worried about on the ground? Like, is there a flash threat?
I wonder if this is everything is new. I'm just going to make sure.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
As well as Isaac could have made this construct. So I think Ryan's just making sure he gets his
Oh.
damage in.
Okay, so this Echoing Deeps
Is a saga
is
currently.
a saga.
Yep.
Okay, that's what it is. That's
And
what I was missing.
Isaac, I believe, has Teleria West in hand, is currently now finding his Cavern of Souls, so he is preparing for it to be, as the name is indicating for us today, hopefully it's prime time.
It is prime time, though. Sink into Stupor.
Gets around the Cavern.
Yeah, pretty good against it.
I've always had
Uncounterable Titan.
I've had the same experience with Sink into the Stupor and Subtlety, where
Subtlety.
you're like, okay, I'm going to grab this Cavern, we're going to be good, and then specifically against Ryan and some of the other players here, they're like, oh, Subtlety or Sink, and I go, this is so bad now.
Though it's not a forever solution, right?
No.
So we're only buying ourselves like a turn.
But I think Ryan is also really trying to top deck the goods, right? There's already an Archon in the yard. He's really on the hunt for a Persist. I
Yep.
think I saw him playing Expressive Iteration, so he can dig to find a Persist. But if this Archon gets into play, it's really, really going to help him.
Okay, so here we go. Yep.
That's
6 mana.
there it is.
Yep. Snap it off.
And the Sink. Pick it up.
Pick it up.
Yeah, I love the look on Isaac's face. Like, I played
Yeah.
around as much as I possibly could, and just the card in hand is synced. That's fine. I'll try this again next turn.
Oh, you've got a card. You've got a handful of cards. You've got an amulet. You know you've got another Titan. This is not. Ooh, that's not what you want to see. You don't want to see Frog.
But same deal. It looks like Ryan can eat everything but the Archon. Get in with
Yep.
this Frog. I might cycle this Archon through it
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
No reason not to here.
Really need
Big
some
rips.
gas.
Ooh.
Does Surveillant do anything? I had to rethink for a second because some folks were talking about unbanning the island Mystic Sanctuary.
Oh.
So for a second I went, oh, Ryan can crack this turn for Sanctuary, and I went, no, that's
No.
not what
We
happened.
haven't done that yet. Yep.
And here's the prime time for the second try. Now, this is a single amulet attempt, so depending on the efforts put in here by Isaac, this might be a big value play, but not actually a Titan kill. 2 amulets makes your kill lines very easy, but Lotus has changed some of that math, but Isaac here grabbing this Vesuva, I imagine to go on the Valakut, might be trying to finagle his way into a Dryad kill. Oh, just
Nope,
kidding.
Just kidding. So, I'm also trying to look at this deck and see if we have like Garrison Slayer Stronghold. That would be really like 2016.
Yes. So last I was playing Primetime, it was a Hanura Battlement Kessig Wolf Run, and some players weren't even playing the
Sure.
Wolf Run because of the loops you can do with Aftermath Analyst. They didn't need a damage kill, it felt like sometimes. But I imagine Isaac here with this amulet is most likely just going to use this. I think the Vesuva was meant to be a red source to go with the Garrison, but Isaac might have bigger thoughts. And I saw the back of the deck, got a Lumra and Escape Shift. Escape Shift got pretty popular in Amulet right before the bans, and I think now it's an even bigger tool of just having 1 or 2 floating around that it can be basically a massive ritual when primetime players play it correctly.
So it looks like we've got Lotus Field Battlements.
So this is going to achieve the goal that Isaac is looking for, right, of getting red mana and haste on this Titan. But Lotus Field indicates that Isaac has plans of trying to get to his combo pretty soon.
So we don't need Forest. We don't need.
Forest Visage, right? Yeah, Isaac is indicating that those 2 lands are ones that are not doing anything active. It's not a double, a Valakut, or the Cavern, so those are the easy sacrifices. Isaac is also a methodical player, and I say that we cannot transmute in combat. This is at sorcery speed, correct?
This has got to be sorcery because I think we cast the prime time. We have not gone
Cleared the
combat
stack and now
Yeah.
have transmuted Artillery West.
yet. So we're
Because Isaac, I think, is going to try to use this Summoner's Pact to get an Aftermath Analyst so that post-combat, this prime time will make enough mana to start Aftermath looping.
yep. So we're not going to combat before we spend that.
Yep.
So we have
There's
mana
haste.
floating from the crumbling. It's probably a green. We don't know that.
Right.
Oh, we're counting.
Because Isaac needs to get to 6 mana, right? 2 to play his Analyst and 4 to sacrifice it. Isaac is going to attack here, but the important part is the trigger, right? Because I'm grabbing Simic Growth Chamber, and I would imagine the other Lotus Field so that he can or Vesuva probably on field, so that Isaac can sacrifice the most amount of mana into the graveyard. But all of this is for naught because we don't have Shifting Woodland to start comboing with. So Isaac might be manual moding here.
Yeah. So Ryan's at 7.
Is this packed for Dryad instead now? Maybe the Vesuva actually came in and targeted Valakut to give him double Valakut, and maybe Isaac's on the hunt for a Dryad. Because the Dryad will give an extra land drop, and that extra land drop will do 3/6 damage, and Ryan is at 7.
Yep. There's Dryad.
There's Cast Dryad,
Cast Dryad.
and there's a land drop. Kill the frog.
Kill the frog. Oh, okay. So we're not winning on the spot. We're just making it so that.
And the Dryad plus, depending on how much Ryan has kept track, I believe we know mostly that Isaac's hand is almost all lands, which means on Isaac's turn, if the Dryad survives, double land drop, prime time attack, whatever it could be, he's just on the hunt for 2 Valakut triggers because Ryan is now also fetched down to 6.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything Ryan draws here.
We at least persist in Archon and figure it out after that.
Yeah, Persistent Archon, though, you sacrifice the.
Nope.
Nope, okay.
The card drawn game scoop. Isaac, you see a big sigh of relief there, whether he saw something in his own lines or he felt he's doing by the skin of his teeth. But game 1 to our primetime player. Confirming from before, we do not have deck lists, and we're in a brand new, beautiful freshness. We can see Ryan's. No, it went away. It's all good. No, folks. We're going to talk real quick while the players are sideboarding about what is currently offered here at the Nerd Rage Gaming home store in lovely, snowy Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Today is currently Wednesday, 6:30 Modern. Thursdays, you can see folks around here playing Magic the Gathering, Elder Dragon, Highlander, and Pokemon. Friday, as have you always put it, we got Boomer Zoomer Magic with our Legacy and Standard events, as well as One Piece. Saturday, Digimon. Monday, run it back with that Digimons and that Elder Dragon Highlander. And Tuesdays with One Piece and Lorcana. Nerd Rage Gaming is adding more and more games every day, every week. It feels like more coming out, but you can probably find them right here at nerdragegaming.com.
I'm going to be thinking about Boomer Zoomer Magic now.
It's perfect, right?
It's so perfect.
It's so wild that it is a Legacy Standard FNM that it allows that to be kind of our inside joke.
I mean, and Boomer Zoomer is also where we're headed in terms of
This modern format.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Because we've got all these Zoomer staples and all these Boomer cards that are coming back into the format.
Right. You get to pair cards like Ocelot Pride with Splinter Twin or FOMO with Splinter Twin. You get to pair Frog and Looting.
Yeah, I was going to say Frog and Looting.
Um,
And so I read a really interesting theory. Let me know what you think of this. So people are complaining. They're like, oh, well, how come we're freeing Mox Opal and Faithless Looting before punishing Fire?
mm-hmm.
The person's theory was that they're targeting the most exciting unbans
Yes.
first and not power levels, because I don't think people are like chomping at the bit to brew with
Mm-hmm.
we have a deck list.
We have
with
a
Punishing
primetime.
Fire. But obviously, as soon as something like Mopal comes back up, people are
Right.
jazzed on it. So I think we're going to see more of those like Moby Boomer cards come off the list. And
I have heard the same thing. Not only that, but when Wizards did the meeting to talk about these unbannings, they kind of indicated they're just getting started.
that's what
Right?
they. Yeah.
They were talking about they're like, we're looking at even more. We wanted to start with these. And I think as a giant show of goodwill, WotC went, we are going to remove the problems, Companion, Ring, Amp Raptor, this big apology. And then they went, and here's a gift, right? And all 4 of the cards that were unbanned seem like it is with a specific intent of getting players back into the game.
Oh, totally.
Twin, Green Sun Zenith, Mox Opal, Faithless Looting.
Faithless Looting.
These are all instrumental cards. We're talking things like Primetime, Green Sun Zenith. We are talking about Faithless Looting. This is the backbone of graveyard-based strategies. Mox Opal, the backbone of artifact strategies. And Twin. All of these are archetypes. These are players who may have felt alienated from the modern format as it was. And now all of them go, here's this big, giant gift. Please come back. And all of us said, yes.
Yes, thank you very much. I also am really excited to see which decks were being subsidized by the One Ring in this new era. So like Eldrazi was good,
Yes.
and Tron was good, and Primetime was good, and Jeskai Control was good. But was that good because they were like, they had the ring in it, or they like actually can
Right.
they hang?
Any deck that gets access to a bunch of cards, only some of those cards need to be good for the deck to be good.
Right.
So in that same vein, we, like I said, didn't have straightforward deck lists. We're going to see a little of Isaac's hand. We see a Dismember and an Amulet.
Oh, what if your hand was a Dismember and 5 lands?
Right? Well, I'm picturing Isaac brought in Dismember. This is a clear indicator of fear of the frog, right? But does not deal with an Archon. So if the threat in front of Isaac ends up being an Archon of Cruelty, we're not going to get it. But if it's an Archon of Cruelty that's been persisted, I take it all back. That's
Oh,
a
yeah,
5/5.
That's a 5/5.
Isaac's so smart. I was like,
He's so smart. He's much smarter than me.
Bowmaster? Sure.
Bowmaster stays in.
I wonder, this is the type of thinking of like, I've kept Bowmaster against Primetime before.
You're not
This
going to
is-
Dismember it.
No. And this might be just kind of making sure that the value that Ryan has stays high. He's playing a Grixis deck, so I imagine a Flood Moon, Blood Moon, now really accessing these with the stretch on the mana. When he was going through a sideboard, I saw that he at least has meltdowns with him, so hopefully those be really important draws to find. That it just might not have been enough to remove these Bowmasters if he had something like a
not
Fatal
bad.
Push.
Do you
And-
like it when your Surveil land is Entomb?
When mine is, yes.
Yeah.
When theirs is, no. I remember I was playing against NRG Champs competitor Harrison Canfer. He was playing the Jund Creativity deck, which is also making a comeback. You see Isaac getting to ban his Aftermath Analyst for free. This is a big deal, but Brian's only option, really. But I was playing against Harrison. He was playing the Jund Creativity deck, and I grief scam him, tear his entire hand apart, and I go, nothing can go wrong here. He has like 2 lands persist. He goes crack fetch, surveil land, bin Archon, and I immediately lose the game on the spot. I was like,
No.
that's on me. So I love it when they're mine, and I hate it when it's theirs.
Okay, so we put an amulet into play, and now we're just threatening that a Titan off the top will kill Ryan.
Right, because Isaac currently has access to 3 mana, and a Lotus is 3 mana due to the amulet. So if Isaac drew Prime Time, not Green Sun, we could access a Titan this turn.
It's pretty sick. That's the thing about this Titan deck. You're just like, oh, whoops, I'm dead. I died.
I imagine, it's going to still always feel finicky. Amulet Titan feels that way. But Green Sun, I feel like, is going to increase the consistency of the amount of times they just have a Titan.
Right, exactly.
In Isaac's situation here, not to spoil anything, the one face-down card is Green Sun Zenith. That this is a scenario where we saw Isaac had access to 6, but not 7, right? So we're going to see that there's at least a choke point still on this becoming a Green Sun deck, but not a choke point on the fact that they have 9 or 10 Titans in the deck now.
Right. So we're setting up for 7 mana next turn.
Yes, Isaac's setting up for
No. Yes, 7 mana next
4 plus the Lotus field. The field has really helped change Titan math. And Ryan has an Archon in the bin, but
there it is.
I was just gonna say, I was like, we've got something happening, but we're not there yet. But I think Ryan is ready to be there now.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get dismembered, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's like a 7 point life swing.
Huge life swing.
That's fine.
I'm going to mention a Magic player pet peeve I have. Isaac plays the way I do with my graveyard fanned out. So at any time that I draw a card that cares about the graveyard, I don't have to pick it up and look through it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I specifically caught this against Kai, our local player, local judge, that I knew every time he drew Snapcaster Mage because he picked up his graveyard and started looking through it.
Oh, we only had to pay 2 life because that Vesuva is a watery grave.
Yes, Isaac did that for the first dismember and now using that for the second dismember. So getting just a little bit of value, but here's the 7 mana swing. Float this mana. Might be sacrificing the field itself. Yeah. Because basically if Isaac gets access to 2 Lotus fields, whether it's Echoing Deeps, Vesuvas, Lotus fields, however he's making 2 of them, makes it very easy to put together the 6 mana that he needs to start getting all of his loops going.
So we're off to the races here again, and we have Unearth and a second card that is either a second Persist or Bitter Triumph.
I believe it's Bitter Triumph.
That's a good place to be.
Oh, which is really gonna help with stopping Isaac in his tracks of, depending on how he gets this set up, he may need the combat of the Titan, and Ryan can either decide to pitch that Unearth or use that, gain that additional, and get rid of it.
Are we thinking about a Lumra here?
Isaac did put a lot of lands into the graveyard. So Ryan is also face up on for Counterspell. I don't know if, it would have hit the Green Sun Zenith, right? But
Right.
Isaac's trying to put the pieces together. Okay, it wasn't Counterspell, so what is it that you're trying to tell me? And he's definitely thumbing that Lumra. He was thinking about Arboreal Grazer. I think that must have just been the card that was in the front, because
Yeah, there's no way yeah, 7 mana Arboreal Grazer. I don't think that's a real play.
I will be excited for folks to Green Sun trick each other like we used to with Court of Calling, of maybe it's a Green Sun for 3, but you really need your 2-drop.
Oh, sure.
Because when an opponent goes, oh, I don't need to counter that because none of your 3s are that impactful, and then you hit an impactful 2, and they go, oh, whoops. I'm thinking of things like Scavenging Ooze, Collector Oof, really impactful 2-drops. But if they're like, oh, they're going for 3, this shouldn't be a problem. So I'm always excited for that part of the game, but looks like Isaac's just going for Prime Time.
Well, I guess it's not called Lumra time, so we're not calling it, Amulet Bear.
And Ryan, I love this. Let the trigger resolve, right? Let Isaac set up. Let Isaac create a plan, thinking he has this Titan. and then ruin his day.
Right.
And the hard part is after all of this happens, Ryan has a Bowmaster, a 1/1, and an empty hand.
Yeah. And an unearth.
Well, that's if he doesn't want to pay 3 life to the Triumph, right? It's either pitch this Unearth or pay 3 life. And I think with a Titan looming as your Titan opponent, I think I would rather be at 10 than 7, but it's maybe not that big of a difference.
Yeah, it feels like it could be the same sort of.
Oh.
It doesn't change the math a lot, right?
Yeah, unless Isaac can string together a way to get a hasted Lumra, which might equal more damage than he thinks, but here's the bog.
The Jukabog.
And shifting woodland. So kind of a big 1-2 punch of deal with your yard and set up for mine. And here's the Triumph. Looks like paying life, or maybe Ryan's debating how to pay. Hovering over paying 3.
So we value the unearth, I guess maybe just as a cycler?
Yeah, it might be as a cycler right at this point.
That's not what you like to see against a shifting woodland.
And we know there's an Aftermath analyst from the beginning of the game that Ryan thoughtseized into Isaac's
Right.
graveyard.
Exactly.
And the current mana available is 5, 6, 7. I believe we know that Isaac's card in hand is a land, which means that's 8 to start going through it.
Looks like Frog. I don't think Frog. Frog certainly doesn't interact with the board at all.
And what Isaac will be close to setting up is, looks like all the pieces are here. Does he have Delirium? He has creature, land, instant. Playing second amulet really going to change things for sure. Another fun thing that Titan players are relearning is Green Sun Zenith can't be your last spell you need for Delirium.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It shuffles itself back in. So they've been saying like, oh, this will get me my sorcery. And then realizing, why can't I use my woodlands? And it looks like there is an amulet in the yard, so that does give Isaac access to the full 4 types.
Oh, yeah, because that was also Thoughtseized.
Yes, the 2
Yeah,
Thoughtseizes. All the way at the beginning of the game might be the cards that set Isaac up for this graveyard-based combo.
That looks like a Titan.
It sure does.
That looks like a shifting Titan.
A shifting Titan. And what's important to know is that the woodland loses its woodland text for the turn. But Isaac, I believe, pays 2. So depending on how he thinks about going through this, might be able to find the second woodland and then start the loops. But also, if Isaac can find access to just a little more damage, I'm looking at you, Keswick Wolfrun. Might just be trying to get in for lethal.
Yeah, I guess I was saying earlier, like, yeah, 10 and 7 are the same, but a active Keswick Wolfrun here for an extra 2.
Yeah, and I think I'm a level B Titan player, and I like my Wolfrun to know that I can just get there in combat. And players like Isaac, a level A, S level Titan player, doesn't need that extra piece. So instead, what if we make a lot of Titans?
Okay, so now we've got a Mirror Pool and another Lotus. So
Yes. So this is going to allow Isaac to make a Titan and float some mana, and then go find Echoing Deeps and let Echoing Deeps be a Mirror Pool all over again and make another Titan. Then Isaac will be able to float mana along the way, possibly finding this Woodlands on the next Titan trigger, and using this as kind of a massive mana battery through combat. There's the deep.
Yeah, as a judge, I think, I get called over a table like this, and my, opponent is like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Just they're doing whatever they want."
Right.
They've ceased to play Magic as we understand it, as Richard Garfield intended it, and now we're just shuffle my library, put cards into play like I feel like.
Right. When you play Titan, there's a certain point where it stops being Magic and starts being a puzzle.
Right.
Which is why a lot of players sometimes like it. I have found that a part of it is once you get really good at the puzzle, you just keep doing the same puzzle over and over again.
It's like those speed cubers.
Yes.
They get really good at Rubik's Cubes.
It is exactly like that. But Isaac here, grabbing Echoing Deep, which I believe will be a Mirror Pool, which allows Isaac to use the floating mana and the Echoing Deeps to make another Titan, and now has a Woodland actually in play.
Right.
But we'll see. I've been wrong. I'll be wrong again. It's hard when things are not directly indicated, we kind of get to
Yeah,
play
we're
along.
like, okay, well, there's a bunch of D6s in
Yep.
play. Okay.
There, I think there might have been a Lotus field that they were allowed to copy, and away goes that. Here's the Aftermath Analyst on top. Here's the beginning of demonstrating a loop. Isaac's explaining it. Mind you, we are in the declare attackers phase.
Right.
Very funny because, as many Magic players know, but in case you don't, if you do move phases, and combat has so many phases.
So many phases.
But if you do, you'll lose all this mana. So Isaac needs to take all of these mana-intensive game actions right here, right now, while Primetime is currently attacking. But look at this plethora of lands that was in the graveyard.
Yeah, put as many lands as you feel like back into play.
A very important piece about Echoing Deeps is either in the graveyard with all the other lands or in play with all the other lands. So when it goes to check what its copyable traits are, it's while it's in the graveyard, so it sees the ones that it comes in with. There's no in-between zone, right? So when it needs to check information, it'll check while it's in the graveyard with its friends. So Echoing Deep can enter as a copy of something it enters with, because when it looked, they were both still in the yard. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Because once it's in play, right? There's no in-between zone. They're not moving to the stack or any other place, so it's either in the yard or it's in play. And now we see Isaac, like I said, beginning to demonstrate I'm going to make a bunch of mana. I'm going to use my Lotus Fields to sack a bunch of these lands. And then what's great is the Shifting Woodland sacrifices itself when being sacrificed for an Aftermath Analyst. Isaac is now proving that as this loop goes on, he can make infinite Titans, because each time he's allowed to mirror pool with his leftover mana. So Isaac will start making all these Titans, which will give him access to all of the lands in his deck, which will then indicate that he's going to start picking up his Beseiju and his Otawara.
Yeah, it's just the Nadu trick.
This is the Nadu loop, which we all got familiar with how these felt, but now it is happening from a much more confusing starting point of Primetime putting all these pieces together. But you will see a lot of times in this point, a lot of players just kind of moving hands and moving lands, as the players at the table have the most concrete understanding of what game actions are currently occurring. Know that this Titan deck has bounce lands, right? So that's how Isaac can put the Otawara and the Beseiju actually into hand, right? As he's going through each of these loops, he'll be able to pick those up. And remember, all of this is with Primetime currently attacking.
Right. We have not even dealt any damage. We haven't even declared blockers. There's no other game actions have been taken for Brian.
Yes. And
He's got a land in his hand. I forgot what he has in his hand.
I think it's the Unearth, then we cycle the his counterspell in hand.
Oh, counterspell. That's right. That's right.
Which
Doesn't interact with this.
makes many blue mages feel safe, but Shifting Woodlands, I have found time and time again, is way for decks to, against these counterspell-based control decks, to have more game outside of Cavern of Souls. The same thing is true. I've been playing Shifting Woodland and Brood Scale combo, and you play against these highly interactive decks that you just suddenly go, activate my Woodlands, turn it into the piece that I'm missing, and they go, oh, my points of interaction are gone already.
Oh, I was trying to play fair magic over here.
Right.
Now you're doing okay.
Yeah, as someone typically playing the fair magic, the counter spells, the merfolk, the psychic frogs, whatever it may be, and I usually have no interest. As we see Isaac finally kind of demonstrate those end pieces. Ryan says, I understand, I accept, and has conceded the game as Isaac obliterated everything Ryan possibly could have had going on.
Yep.
Took it over with his infinite Titans, his infinite lands, and then pick however you want to win. Probably the Dryad Valaka, because it's the easiest to explain to an opponent.
Yeah, you could just be like, no, I'll just pass turn with infinite Titans. And
Yes.
You have no permanence.
They're all here. You at the end will have the amount of basic lands you had in your deck, because your Besejus will have to at
that's
least
right.
leave those behind.
There will be a handful of basics. So you can have some basics.
Right.
Um,
How's our lovely backups doing? Haviva here on tech checking in,
Oh.
and we are in the backup.
now we are talking.
So we have
My
Josh.
favorite island is in play.
Yes. I don't quote me. I believe Josh did see you playing Merfolk and then started picking up Merfolk. But I don't want to misspeak for him. But we have Josh on the left side here, Merfolk player.
No, I think he did too. Yeah.
Similar vibes. Merfolk players have the same thought.
Yeah.
These are beautiful. Josh, returning to the game to speak outside of, he wasn't here at the modern events for a while. Bands, bingo, bango, Merfolk time coming on back. And Michael Ryan, he's been playing creativity a lot lately. I believe right now, I might have misspoken. This might be very similar to what Michael Ryan was, not Michael, what Ryan Reynolds in our
Yeah.
main feature is playing.
Michael Ryan, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they're homies
Obviously.
too, so I think they probably came with similar lists of playing Faithless Looting alongside this package. We'll see if Mike is also playing Archons, but we at least see an Oculus currently in play. And Josh cited in a lot of surgicals.
I do like to see cast Faithless Looting, put an Oculus in the graveyard. Like now we're really talking here.
And you get to do it alongside your Unearth. So you can just have your turn 1 Surveillant, turn 2 Fluting Unearth go. It's like, whoa.
Oh, we get to see the whole deck because it's getting a Pyroclasm, Tamio, Unearth.
Yep, persist, Eyeball. Ooh, Subtleties, Counterspells. Okay.
Didn't see any Archons.
Didn't see any Archons. So maybe playing around, seeing all these surgicals, or anticipating some sort of graveyard hate. I love having cards you can juke to when you're playing a graveyard strat, of knowing that post board is when a lot of that hate comes, and sometimes you can change your plan. So maybe that's where the subtleties and stuff kind of took over as I'll be some of your aggressive threats.
All right, we're manifesting here. I think it was land.
Josh drew my second favorite dismember. You see my favorite. These are the ones you have, the horror movie dismembers.
Oh, the horror movie ones.
I'm now a big fan of the Tis But a Scratch dismembers.
Oh,
but
it's hard to beat the Monty Python ones, but
these are super sick though.
But for me, once you already buy one, like expensive
Mhm.
fancy one, it's hard to buy the second one. You're like,
Yes.
well, I've already got the matching set.
I don't mean to speak the devil's name, but I did that with One Rings. I had
Oh,
I had
no.
normal versions, and then I had extended art versions. And I traded the extended art versions for the non-foil borderless versions, and now they are paperweight.
Did you get the poster ones?
No, I
Just Ink
tried.
ones?
Oh man, I tried, but boy oh boy, the dollar dues on those.
Those maybe they'll come down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Get them for your commander decks or legacy.
I do have a Derevi commander deck, and it is not okay with the One Ring in it.
Oh, right, because you're always on tap. Yeah, that's.
And you can put all the triggers on the ring and just go. Don't recommend. As Josh is looking at his hand, as I said, did draw this answer to the Oculus. Mike has a Stern Scolding down in front of him. I imagine that's indicating his hand for his opponent, as they both know what the card is from the Surgical. Josh dealing here with the Oculus, and now crossing his fingers that any of the face-down manifests aren't another Oculus waiting to flip up. But he exiled 2, I think, to the Surgical, so there's a 4th one somewhere.
Yeah, and then we see this is a frog.
Frog. From Merfolk. This is Frog Folk.
Yeah, frog folk.
Which is also a standard deck if you really, really like frogs.
That's true. Different kind of frog, different kind of folk.
Yeah, the Simic ones. This is neither. This is not Simic or a Merfolk, but instead somewhere in the middle.
Third thing.
I love this quick fetch. This is most likely on the hunt for Surveil.
Yeah, we have a Thundering Falls in play. Okay, yeah, there we go. Another.
Oh my gosh. Fetch lands, now fetch for Surveil lands, sorcery speed, in the hopes of binning your Faithless Looting to flash it back.
That's huge. Your brain is huge right now.
And Mike's current hand is just Stern Scolding, staring at a Cavern of Souls. So if he was able to...
Oh my god. That's a called shot right there. Let's go. Let's go.
He's going to be able to use his 3 mana and cycle this Stern Scolding, definitely end up in the yard, and keeping one of the 2 randoms he picks off the top here, which was...
Flooded Strand
and something else, but he made a not happy face.
Yeah, probably Flooded Strand and other land.
Mike, I tried for you, man. I tried.
The called shot there, the sorcery speed fetch into flipping a Faithless Looting.
And he did it so quickly, and all I could think of is, we've been trained for so long to instant speed do these, right? Opponent's end step, most information, but he was doing it for a reason. Faithless Looting was that reason, and now we're figuring out what he can do with it. Strand down.
Scolding down.
I think he drew Strand.
So we're keeping a Strand.
Yes, to, I think, kind of rinse and repeat, because the Cavern of Souls means the Scolding's not doing anything.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Really, you could have countered... The Frog is probably the only thing you can insert Scolding in the deck at this point.
Oh, yeah.
But Mike was tapped out.
Yes. Okay.
So.
I was like, wait. So now Mike is sitting here with his 2/2 blockers. Josh needs to figure out how to put the pieces together. It's a 7 to 8 life total, so it's close all around. Josh with not quite enough cards to feed into this to give a flying frog and kind of go punch on this turn, punch next turn. Not true. It's exactly
it's
that, right?
exactly enough cards because you hit 3 this turn,
Draw.
and then you get another draw because you draw for turn.
And Mike
So-
has a single card, and one of the joys of playing Magic in person, a part of the gathering, hanging, the friends, seeing your opponent, is Josh saw Mike draw 2 cards, make a face, and then discard. That's
Yeah.
huge information for Josh right now.
Yeah. So I think if we're Josh here, I think you feed whatever to the frog,
Yeah.
rumble in.
Cross your
discard.
fingers, do it again.
Yeah, I think I would discard 1 card because you'll have enough fuel to kill him in 2 hits. Doesn't really matter, I think.
So if we discard 1,
No, we're
yeah,
discarding 2.
let's go, Josh, right? So I think this is the only way to get exactly 7 out of it, right? Because if he discards any less cards this turn, it's less damage next turn.
Oh no, you're right. You're right.
So it's 3 now. Plus, Josh gets to draw for the frog. I always forget this part of the frog.
This is the best part of the frog.
But this is the 1 extra card. So Josh actually has this card to work with because he knows he can pitch next turn's card.
Right. What do we got here?
I think it's Sinking a Stupor.
Sinking to Super would be good.
Incredible. Because as long as Mike doesn't present a problem, we're good. And if Mike does present a problem, pick it up.
Exactly. Though having 6 mana means that we could be recasting any number of threats.
Oh, from Mike, right? So, but Josh can kind of do our end step trick if we need to like bounce an Oculus or something to get it out of the way.
Yeah, we
Mike,
just take 4.
It's 4 to 4. Ooh.
We didn't flip either one of them, so we feel confident that it's not a real card.
It's not. It's not Mike flipping a frog or flipping an Oculus or a Kiora. We're thinking of cards that could be in a Grixis style strat right now.
All right, so you see that card there?
Darkslick Shores.
Darkslick Shores.
That's a +1/+1 counter.
That's frog food. That's what that is.
And Josh can hold on to the sink and know that I would feel pretty safe.
Yeah, I think you're pretty safe here.
Mike would need to have, I guess, push, right? He could push, pick up, push.
Yeah.
So I think any removal spell we can deal with, but Mike trying to make a cheeky blocker
is not going to work.
Not going to work.
Yeah. Like if you're flashing in subtlety or something.
Or Deceiver X, sorry.
Yeah. Well, we don't know that Twin isn't in this deck. We only went through like 30 cards.
I legit, and I'm not kidding, I love transformational sideboards. I already have a deck together that has Twin in the sideboard.
Ooh.
So when you sideboard out of your graveyard deck, you sideboard into your Twin deck.
I'm into it.
Just a thought. I'm thinking, I'm out here. I love transitional sideboards because graveyard strats are incredibly powerful, but so are the sideboard cards against them. So is 7 cards of your sideboard worth doing a flop and knowing that you don't lose to a bunch of blank cards they bring in? Maybe.
I love a transitional anything.
Yes. yes. It is.
Oh,
dude, Mike,
man.
Mike, I'm called 2 shots called so far. And Josh is explaining the same thing of, I have this, but not for your push. And now Mike gets in for combat for 4.
Yeah.
And Mike gets to take this round down 2 games to 0. We said it had to be basically exactly a really cheap interactive piece like that. It in fact was. Josh did everything that he could, right? From the moment we came into this game of making sure that frog could deal lethal as fast as possible. But the leftovers from Poor and Oculus allows Michael Ryan to take it down 2 games to 0. Folks, thank you so much for joining us for round 1 of what I'm calling, we're in Magical Christmas Land. We've arrived. Everyone's been talking about it. I think we're there. I think we're experiencing it. Shout out to the Boomer Zoomer combos. We're going to see them continuing throughout the course of the night. This
does have subtlety.
Yes.
How about that?
This is just round 1 of 4 of this like Boomer Zoomer return to modern format. As many people are saying, we are back and we will be right back. See you all soon. everybody, and welcome back to round 2 of Wednesday Night Modern here at Nerd Rage Gaming from the home store, brought to you in Buffalo Grove, Illinois. I say all of that, but we're truly a magical Christmas land. I'm Dom Stryker alongside May. Welcome to round 2.
It is. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas Land here. We got two.
Yeah, hit it. Mishra's Baubles.
Thought a third Mistress Bauble was going in the graveyard for a second there.
So we have Clark on Grixis Shadow. So we're look out there. We're on the hunt for the busted cards. He's playing Faithless Lootings. And we've got David on the left playing Affinity. What card could it be? Oh, yeah. Mox Opal's back.
Mox Opal is back. I'm glad to see it in an Affinity shell, not in a Lantern shell.
I've seen it in Lantern.
I've seen it in Lantern.
I've seen it in Grinding Station. I've seen it in Affinity because it self-sacks because they're legend.
Right.
Yeah. The same way your Mox Ambers do. And I have seen it in...
Mox number 1?
That's Mox Amber. We could have played that one already. Which means David also has some legends to work with. So we're talking Emery, Urza, who knows, but Kappa.
It's got to be Urza, right?
We've got Kappa,
We've got
Kappa,
a Saga.
Think, Thoughtcast, another bridge, and a Saga out of David Garola.
Seems like kind of a slow hand.
I think if I'm Clark, if I have a second Thoughtseize in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to snap these 2 Kappa Cannoneers and never have to worry about a single threat.
Yeah.
If Clark doesn't have a second hand attack, it gets a lot harder because this thing's got Ward. It's going to be huge. He's going to have to deal with Kappas and a Saga. So he's looking. He's grabbing. He's getting his life totals ready because he's going to write these things down. He's taking Thoughtcast.
Thoughtcast, interesting.
Because David doesn't have really the artifacts right now to power out these Kappas, so Clark is seeing that he has time, and he's going to take the card draw away instead.
Okay.
And, noticeably, this Mox does not have a legend to go with currently. It also cues off Planeswalkers, but I can't imagine David has a Planeswalker of any kind.
Oh, well, 1/1. That's fair.
Clark put in a lot of work for this 1/1, but it might not be a 1/1 for long. Importantly, David here is playing out the Urza Saga. If his land next turn is the bridge, he won't be able to get that first construct, as it'll be a tap land. And if his third land is the Sink into Stupor, that's one less card Clark has to play around. So David might be forced to make decisions pretty quickly here, drawing that beautiful reskinned Fairy Thought Scour.
Okay, Thought Scour.
Thought Scour self.
Target myself.
Land
Snapcaster Mage. Okay.
You want to talk about other cards that are back?
He's back, baby.
Snapcaster's back.
Some would say he's never left.
I would agree. If you were,
Snapcaster Mage won the recent league.
yes, if you are exactly a Wizards player, Snapcaster never left. And now, if you are exactly a Wizards player, Snapcaster has never left. But now, I've been seeing Wizard Twin.
Wizard Twin.
Deceiver, Exarch, and Pestermite are Wizards.
Pestermite is a
it's a rogue.
It's a rogue. It's got to be a rogue.
Deceiver, Exarch's a Wizard.
Okay.
And here's Clark, took a little bit more damage, and that 1/1 we said before are now 2 5/5s. And Clark drawing, Stubborn Denial? Well, thank you for my 5/5s. And David going to make a construct, which will be a 2/2, and then presumably make a construct will be a 3/3, search up, and have 2 4/4s. And his 2 4/4s are smaller than the 2 5/5s. That's just math.
Aren't we blocking one this turn?
Yeah.
Because they're 8/8s now.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely a blocking duty. Oh, Sink. Just pick one up.
Oh.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
nope. Now
Just the mana efficiency is
died.
gone. And
Okay.
you did die. You did die. You
just
died.
died.
Oh, you died. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it right now. Clark, does your sideboard have Meltdown? Pyroclasm, Nihil Spell Bombs,
Mystical
Dispute.
That was game 1.
Clark
yeah.
did. Clark hit with his 2 8/8s and dealt 16 damage to David.
Oh, we got 3 meltdowns. Oh, snap them off.
God's come here. Clark. So I said, I reached out to a couple of players who play at locals, and I said, you should bring your Meltdowns, you should bring your Rakdos Charms. If you can play them, now is the time to have them. Rakdos Charm has Shatter, Exile, Graveyard, and each creature does 1 damage to its controller. AKA, stop Mox Opal, stop Faithless Looting, stop Splinter Twin.
That's actually sick.
It's super sick.
That's actually so sick.
And Clark here has Kolaghan's Command and Meltdown. So the same thing, understanding the importance of this return of artifact strategies David, playing the bridges, so he'll have some indestructible lands, but Clark is going to be hunting for everything else.
So I feel like this last game we see how powerful Shadow can be. We know
Literally.
Shadow can be, but we didn't really see Affinity like do a whole lot. I feel like maybe we're hoping to keep a hand with a little bit more stuff going on.
Right.
So we got the opals. We got Emery for our secondary mocks, and then yeah.
So it'll be pretty interesting, right? This is a kind of stock Affinity has the access to now, kind of being a mono blue artifact based strat. So the sideboard cards are always going to be kind of optional. You're going to be looking at a lot of things like counter magic and artifact based hate. If you are in David's shoes, again, this is a example deck list, not going to be exactly what David is playing, but it'll be interesting because if I'm looking at all of the cards in the sideboard, I want, I don't know, maybe a force or two just in case, but like, what do I
maybe,
want?
Yeah, you maybe want a welding jar.
Oh, yeah. I mean, does Jar help you through Meltdown? Meltdown doesn't have like a weird clause, right?
No, I think it just
Great.
it'll save something through Meltdown.
And Kappa is an artifact, right?
Kappa is an artifact, but
And
Kappa
it's a huge
costs-
one.
It
Yeah,
costs,
it costs 6.
It costs 6, so you're not melting that down.
So maybe we're in a situation where if David has them, maybe he wants to bring in some number of counter magic to fight back. And if he's got jars, a jar could be helpful that if Clark's trying to go for a big sweep of blowing a bunch of artifacts, if David can keep one key artifact, that could swing the whole game. Things like cranial plating, maybe a big patchwork automaton. There's a couple little things that could be big things.
Yeah, and we see a patchwork automaton.
That's the only reason I remembered that card. I saw it fan through David's hand.
Okay. Well, maybe we're leaving the patchwork automaton in the graveyard all of a sudden.
Whoa, subtlety, hello,
Subtlety,
Emery,
Emery.
Mox.
Oh, okay. So this hand's a lot more reasonable.
It is. David, I'm so intrigued by your deck. This looks to be less of like spew 0-drops affinity and more of a like, I think I just have good blue cards affinity.
I mean, I like a deck that's just good blue cards.
Just good blue cards, right?
Big fan.
Because this allows David to next turn go patchwork, Mox, triple trigger patchwork, which means Clark most likely has interest in picking up that patchwork because David loses threats, right? Just stuck with subtlety Emery.
Yeah, I mean, are you taking Emery or are you taking patchwork here? I guess.
Patchwork.
Patchwork.
Because we saw Clark kill before, and Emery could have even been cast by David last game, right?
But we're deploying Emery this turn.
Oh, if David also can use the Mox as kind of a ritual here, right? Get that affinity for one alongside that land. Get Emery out here with a blue mana left to spare. And so close to having the Rebuke available, but just the two sources here.
Rebuke not quite affinity.
Yeah. Emery, not quite an artifact, right? All of the pieces just off.
Emery, not quite an artifact. No.
Emery, one of my favorite flavor of cards. She is literally the lady in the lake
She's
handing
Lady in
out
the Lake.
swords. So she literally goes into the graveyard, grabs an artifact, and gives it to you. Come on. Come on.
She's great. And she's a merfolk, so what's not to love?
This is a great point. These are great
Yeah.
points. Everybody, tune in for more Merfolk facts, as we'll find them in every deck.
Oh, we'll find the... Oh, okay. Goodbye. Goodbye.
We'll find them in every graveyard.
We'll find merfolk in every graveyard.
I mean, that's the campaign I'm running on.
That's right. Yeah.
And Clark, there it is.
Here we go.
Faithless looting. Bingo.
Bow, 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 bow. Oh,
Can I interest you in a Meltdown and Mishra's Bauble? Maybe, just a little taste.
yeah. So let's get these lands out of our hand.
And I believe this is still Clark's turn 2, so land drops made.
Yep.
Last game action for the turn.
Well, not necessarily.
Baubles.
No, okay, we're bidding the bobble, but we could have played the bobble as a game action.
Bauble is always interesting, right? Is discarding it the same advantage of playing it and getting a random card?
No.
Who knows, right?
Here's another Emery.
Oh, retro or
Retro.
not Eldraine frame, but retro?
Well, it's not even the Eldraine frame. Like, that one was from March, right?
But it's in the Eldraine frame, right? They did like
right.
the cavalcade of all the frames.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But it's not an adventure, so the words are written across the middle of the book. But I still play with that Emery. She's so pretty.
Clark, maybe seeing if you can Kappa, what the interaction between Emery and Kappa Cannoneer is.
Oh. Because it costs 6 overall, but has improvise, which means if David had artifacts 2 tap for mana, He could do so for improvised cost if you know Convoke, improvise very similar, just never allows for colored cost.
Okay, so
Inquisition takes down that rebuke.
yeah, because everything else in the hand costs a million.
Yep.
Gurmag Angler.
Clark, how dare you?
Oh my god.
Clark,
Okay.
Clark.
You know,
What subtlety on the Gurmag Angler?
you don't need to have, the busted 2015 cards in your deck for this to be Boomer Modern. You can just play Gurmag Angler.
Faithless Looning's back? I guess Gurmag Angler's back.
It
Clark, my dude.
looks like it's going back on the library though.
Yeah, I believe it is currently getting subtlety. Clark, you put this on the bottom. You're never going to get your graveyard stocked enough. Let it go, man. Let it go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Goodbye.
I love, so,
So
we-
Patchwork Automaton, your time is now.
yeah.
It's never been so back.
Clark, a longtime Boros Energy player, right? For the past few months, we really saw Clark like grinding through it, just playing the best deck in the format, right? And to see it get banned and him go, it's Gurmag Angler time, shows that Magic players are either best deckers or they live their truth, and sometimes it's somewhere in between.
I think there's a lot to be said about just living your truth. Obviously.
Yes, yes.
So here we go. Okay,
K command.
Polygon.
I'm so sorry. We've spoken of Kozilek's command so much as K command, but this is the OG K command.
Was
But did
that?
you see what I see?
Yeah. Kill your Emery, discard a card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
And it's a Patchwork Automaton hitting the bin. So David just left with this one in play. It's an itty bitty little one.
Yeah. Meltdown.
Meltdown for 2. Gets around the ward of this Patchwork Automaton.
But you can also just what do you call it? Fatal push, pay the ward.
How about I
Or-
flashback
no,
my
we're
Faithless
flashing by
Looting?
Faithless Looting. We got Gurmags to cast.
Found another.
Oh, we're gonna bid them both.
That makes more sense. I wasn't sure what was happening. That makes sense. And again, David with a, I believe Patrick starts as a 1/1.
Oh, there it is. Mox Opal.
Getcha. A banned card unlocked to you.
Yeah. Goodbye to David's permanence here, though. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Clark is going to say thank you that David
Oh.
played out his land per turn and now
That's
he's going to
the
lose.
fourth Gurmag Angler
Oh,
in Clark's hand.
well. It costs actual 7 overall, right?
Yes.
So this Meltdown is going to be a 5th card. And there's the 6th card. So Clark's going to be able to go Meltdown for 2 into
Oh.
Gurmag Angler.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Show me a shock. Show me a basic. Untap land. Went by a Steam Vents. Didn't want that one. Came back to it.
Yeah. Came back to it.
So this is exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in yard. Meltdown becomes the 6th, and
Yep.
1 remaining mana is the Gurmag.
We've never been so back.
Yeah, big shouts to first time chatter here saying reject Oculus, embrace Gurmag. Big shouts. You love to see it. And David losing
Bonk.
it all, and now here's Big Fish.
Now, I will point out that David is winning.
David's winning. David's
Yeah,
winning.
it's 20-4.
Here's an Emery. This big Emery hit a card like Portable Hole, but the Big Fish is a little bigger.
We're not.
Doesn't
putting this
fit in the
a
hole.
portal. Does not fit in the hole. Way
I'm
too
so
big for the
sorry.
hole. That's
Okay.
that's phrasing. We can't-
No, it was perfect. It was actually no problem seen.
We did also get what did we get there? We got the flying thoughtcast about monitor.
Yes, but David's affinity is very low. The only artifact in play right now is the bridge. So the Thought Monitor being a 7-drop is only discounted down to 6 right now. Very short of Emery being able to kind of adjust that math.
So
Big
there's-
rips.
Are we casting? Oh yeah. So you wanna say that you wanna cast
Patchwork.
this? Yep.
Because this is really important. David is going to turn this into a 2/2. And then bobble, which means if David draws an artifact next turn, he can get 2 more counters on this Patchwork, and Clark's not going to be able to attack with Big Fish because Big Fish might become a blocker.
Are we at any point? Are we just casting this? Nope, we're not. We're going to 2.
Or you're going to ask about the Street Wraith?
Yeah, so like, are we casting the Street Wraith?
I guess Clark understands that he's either going to need to block or not going to block, and he's going to figure that answer out very soon. David is kind of okay with this because
Clark, like Emery beats, right?
for
Half your life total.
beats for 1. Mishra's bobble.
I think that's like a real danger here.
I love this Gurmag Angler fueling the Stubborn Denial. So, David, you need a
You
creature.
don't have any removal. Yeah, I think we're David's the beatdown.
Yes,
We
come on,
swing
David.
here.
Come on, David. Come on, David. It's so hard.
It's a 2-turn clock.
Haviv and I used to talk about this all the time of recontextualizing what your card does, what it means, right? Emery is a value engine, but the question is it a beatdown engine or is it still a value engine? And Mox Amber says still a value engine.
Okay.
Does David need this mana for something? It'd be so wild, right? The attack with Emery might have meant that Clark could not attack with a Gurmag Angler.
Exactly.
And both players kind of on this 2-turn clock, though David's not really representing it yet.
So, okay, and Clark
There's-
has 2 counterspells, though.
Oh.
So,
I think David is making all these efforts to unlock this Thoughtcast, and Clark telling him no.
yep.
Big fish.
Yeah, okay, well, now plan attack with Emery is off.
Right. Now it's plan block with Emery.
Well, you could block,
Oh,
you can make infinite blockers with patchworks, right?
Yes. Using the Emery, never even put the Emery as the blocker, but
Oh.
instead the patchwork.
Tameo
Tameo makes artifacts. Big facts.
can't dispute that.
You can't actually. You just only have to pay 1 blue to do so.
Oh, that's right, that's right. And
Which
I thought Clark had dispute.
It sure is what Clark has.
Sick.
Instead, dealing with the patchwork.
Because now you have to block with Tameo.
But then we got the Emery clock again.
Yeah. but no, it's too late for the Emery clock because you
Yeah.
have to make sure that you have a blocker.
Yes.
So attack with Emery, play a fresh Emery.
Okay, so the thing is if Clark's last card is another counterspell, David needs to, I believe, leave the Emery as the blocker because casting a spell makes you less likely to have a blocker.
Okay, what's coming in here?
Thought Monitor.
Thought monitor?
Because 3 is the discounted affinity.
Yep.
And then David is paying,
4.
I think he's paying 5. Math's hard, no matter
Math's
who
hard,
you are.
yeah.
And now this Thought Monitor is going to draw 2.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's a blocker too.
That's
And
a
that's a
blocker.
lethal threat.
but it's a blocker first.
Oh yeah, it was a blocker first. Yep. Thought Monitor, thank you for your service. But David gets a rinse and repeat now with this Thought Monitor.
We do.
Affinity's the same.
We are drawing a lot of cards potentially.
Oh, thank you, Clark. Little does Clark know I've seen all these lands drawn from him. But good on him, Magic player holding 3 lands in hand, knowing that he won't need more than 4, but David doesn't know that.
Okay, so now we are casting
Thought Monitor from the
Monitor
grip.
from the grip.
David.
So we're drawing 2. Okay.
And
He's
is-
got to have taken control of this game again finally, right? Because now
right. And if David himself finds any bounce or removal for this Gurmag Angler, Clark will have nothing.
well, can he play the second Thought Monitor from the graveyard now?
Oh, yeah.
Plus he's drawing 2, so he could just be playing one from grip.
Right, if David activates and puts a Thought Monitor into play, the onus then moves to Clark on needing to find removal as both will be lethal threats.
Right.
One is forced to block the Gurmag Angler, but the second is not. I love David drawing Portable Hole staring at this Gurmag Angler.
Yeah.
All right.
So Thought Monitor,
2 draws for David.
a spell.
Aether Spellbomb. That's what you're looking for. And
Oh,
a Mox Opal.
Okay, yeah, there's no way David loses from here. We're going to game 3.
Because David has this Spellbomb. This is kind of the answer to the Angler. He can wait all the way until Clark's end step, not need to worry about the recast, and then these 2/2s can get in for damage.
Yeah.
David had to do this the hard way. David was not attacking for chunks of 5.
Oh, you're not casting either of those. Oh, well, you're also not. because
You're
milling
definitely
them.
not.
But you're also, I guess you can
Dismember the hard
cast-
way
You can cast this Dismember.
and die to the other 2/2. Get your boy bounced.
Yeah.
Show off all your lands.
Yep.
Clark. Clark, ever the thoughtful Magic player, went to do the reveal of how bad his hand was, held the Dismember, and dropped all the lands. He was like, you don't get to know that one.
That's a heads up play. That's the kind of
Yes, right. I know when you play like friendly games of Magic, especially at locals, sometimes if like you draw the no lander, you like show your opponent, you're like, ah ha ha ha, let me mulligan real quick. And I love to do that, except when really important sideboard cards are in hand. I go, oh, you got no land, and like you shuffle it up.
I've got my favorite story to tell. Okay.
We got time.
So here I am. I'm dead in an SCG Sunday 5K, but I'm still playing because my friends are playing.
Magic's great.
I'm playing Merfolk. My opponent's playing Hammer, and I draw my hand, and I was like, I don't know if this is good against Hammer. And my opponent says, if you show me, I'll tell you. And so I just
Yes.
drop my hand face up on the table, and I will never forget the look on his face.
You're like, okay, cool. Tell me.
And like, the value play here, obviously, is to just create a memory for
Yeah.
me and this complete stranger. And he tells me my hand is pretty good.
Okay,
So I
great.
keep it. And he plays turn 1 Shockland untapped, and I play turn 1 Vial, and he spell pierces it.
He goes, it was good. I
It
just
was good. I just had spell pierce.
the same thing happened. Players were playing at Champs. Dykeman is playing basically what I call Turbo Fog Control, right? And he Narset Days undoing his opponent. His opponent has literally 0 cards, and Dykeman draws his 7. And the player looks at the judge and goes, can I ask my opponent to reveal their hand? And they go, yeah, of course, you can ask. And before they finish their sentence, Dykeman just drops his hand on the table. He's like, yeah, we're good. He's like, okay, we're good. And they scoop up the cards. I believe, yeah, it's just like, yeah, you can ask.
can always ask.
Before they even finish it, the hands on the table. And hands on the table, let's talk about double Street Wraith here out of Clark. Bringing back the classics. You want to put your Death Shadow in play? Give me your Street Wraiths. Give me your Mishra's Baubles. I've been talking about this. One of our players out in the field, Alex Luke, he's been playing Green-Black Infect with Manamorphose, Street Wraith, Mishra's Bauble, like all these cards just to find the goods. And I get so scared every time someone does that because at a certain point, a deck's going to break in half all of these free things that we have, and it's going to create even bigger problems.
Well, that's why we don't have Simeon Spirit Guide.
Yes, that was the one that we couldn't have.
And someone's like, oh, well, we're unbanning. Are we? Oh, we stubborn denialed the Mox Opal, and then another one came down.
And then
But yeah, so people are like, oh, so we got Mox Opal. Are we going to get Chrome Mox next? And I'm like, there's no way. Chrome Mox is up to no good.
no good.
No good.
Can't I discard my Archon to Chrome Mox?
You exile it.
You get exile. Okay. Oh, the Mox Diamond.
You're thinking
drops
Mox
away.
Diamond, yeah.
Hey, I got big dreams. As this Death Shadow again down, just a lowly 2/2 on turn 2, but it's never that small for long. And here's Tammy. Yo,
There goes Tamio.
she got pushed.
Yeah, she got pushed.
Clark, welcome. Nah, your opponent goes to life pad. You're like, not yet, not yet.
No.
Most likely get another blue source online. In fact, it's the watery grave here for Clark. Pump up the jam on
So we're
that
going
Death
to
Shadow.
8.
Uh,
There were the double strike spell in there.
no, there. What?
Yeah,
In Clark's deck?
in Clark's deck.
Right now?
I've seen it when Clark is going through the deck.
You talking Teamer Battle Rage?
I am talking Teamer Battle Rage. I seen it.
I seen it. I fucking seen it. Oh my goodness. This rules. Everyone. These are the times that are the most exciting. I've been so pumped to just see, watch, play Magic lately. That thank you for being along for the ride, May. Same to you. I'm
this is
having a
great.
blast.
No, this is Wizards gave us all a present, for
Yes.
the unbanned Dark Depths when somebody asks in
Hey,
chat.
I mean, Brendan, you're right. For you, I would do anything. David here kind of deciding what land drop's going to be the best. And we're just in this moment. Clark with his big giant creatures, currently 5/5s, but again, they don't stay small for long. They just keep getting bigger. But if there's really a team or battle rage somewhere in here, there's nothing I want more. Nothing against David. I love David, but TBR I ain't seen in years.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see it.
There's a construct blocking for one of these Death Shadows. Okay.
You hate to see that.
And now we've got David resolving. One of these sagas is going to pop. So David kind of doing the classic dance with your saga of deciding, does he want the construct or does he need the mana? This version that we see in David playing of kind of this good blue card affinity makes me think that he might need his mana more than anything, especially with looks like a Sink and a Stupor into hand. He might just need to be able to fight back against these big Death Shadows.
Yeah, what are you getting? You're maybe getting Aether Spellbomb?
Spellbomb. Yep,
Yeah.
I'm on the same thing, right? When I had played the Underworld Breach many, many moons ago, before the ring, everything, 1 Aether Spellbomb was always in your Urza Saga package because it was just your get out of jail free card when there's just a creature you couldn't deal with.
So we're going for mana. There's a Kappa in the hand, but I don't think
Okay.
we're playing Kappa this turn.
Well, and David will get unlocked his Mox Opal, which will be his second blue source for his Sink into Stupor. And then the question will be is, does he have a way to weave together playing his Sink and cracking the Spellbomb to kind of deter all the current threats?
Right. Because we're not. It's too. We're a little too under the gun to get something like Shadow Spear, even though we would love to put Shadow Spear
Yes.
on a Kappa Cannoneer.
Or if David still had a construct left over from last turn, right, of having like a 5-power creature.
Oh, we are getting Shadow Spear. Okay.
Hey, you're on the right track, right?
So
David's looking to make a big blocker. Spear equips for 2, though.
Spear equips for 2.
1 floating. So David could make a construct and a land drop and construct suit up the construct.
So Spire is not adding to the affinity count.
No, so count still 3. Oh,
No,
you can improvise with the Shadow Spear.
Oh, you can improvise with the Shadow Spear and then
Big
still,
Kappa, and then still put it on.
Still put it on.
Remember, mana floating for David, important for his count right now. Oh, I think he's construct thinking. But it's gonna be so dangerous if Clark has Fatal Push, if Clark has Sink into Stupor.
Okay.
This could go wrong, but this is David's out, right? Of setting up this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/5 blocker.
Oh, meltdown.
Rude.
Rude. That unbelievably rude.
Clark, unleash it. Yeah. Here's the hardest thing. When cards get unbanned and the strategies are clear for what they are doing, the sideboard cards can also become clear. Clark here using Meltdown to take it down in game number 3. David set himself up for a way to survive, but Clark, using the power of sideboard cards and Meltdown, new MH3 addition to this format, is going to allow him to control this affinity strategy. They mentioned it in the release article for the unbannings, that part of the reason they felt safe unbanning Mox Opal is Meltdown and Wrath the Skies exist. And Clark showcasing here that Meltdown incredibly important at pushing through against affinity.
Is Pyroclasm good if it also kills your opponent's lands?
Yes. When it kills their land and their Shadow Spear and their Mox, it just keeps getting better. Absolutely. If you are looking to play any of the Nerd Rage events, not only are they happening locally here in Buffalo Grove, Illinois, but the NRG series continues and will return in 2025. Beginning of February to be here in the Chicagoland area for Elmhurst. We're going to have Saturday solos event, but a Sunday team trial. March 15th through the 16th up in Madison, Wisconsin. May 10th through the 11th in Chicago in the Mundelein area. And then in June, we had the Taylor Swift experience where NRG had to move an event last year, but we still got that reservation. So June 28th to the 29th, we're going back to beautiful Indianapolis for a double showdown weekend. Folks, when you're looking at these, remember showdowns are the events that you not only get to win a token and win the event, but qualify for NRG champs. Whereas trials, you have the first 2 things, and you're earning those points to try to get into the NRG champs at the end of the year.
Now, they also published the formats for these, like yesterday.
Yesterday?
I don't remember all of them, but I do remember that one in Indianapolis, Sunday Team Showdown, is Final Fantasy sealed.
I see what you're doing. I see what's going on. All right, everyone. That is a moment where I realized you're not making a goof.
No, I'm
There's
not.
incoming sets.
There's one set. The Final Fantasy set.
We've gone too far.
In June. This is not a joke.
No, because the sets, I thought you were making a like, haha, the team's format's going to be Lorcana, One Piece, and Final Fantasy. But no, it's coming. It's coming.
Final Fantasy cards with Magic the Gathering backs.
In Standard.
In Standard.
A big change that I'm a big fan. Sound off in chat how you feel about the Universes Beyond changes. I'm checking with production. Is our backup folks still there? Yeah, we put there's another Mox Opal Gamers on the other screen. We wanted to make sure to highlight as many cards as possible. But if they keep winning, we have easy features for round number 3. So we've seen you here for round number 2. Please don't go anywhere. There's tons more unbanned cards to showcase. We will be right back. Toodles.
What I like about the NRG series is how much of a community it feels like.
It's really cool to be able to meet people that share common interests with you and become friends with them and grow relationships.
I'm able to feel a sense of belonging that I don't feel a lot of other places.
Oh man, it's almost indescribable. A lot of regulars who play the series basically all year, it feels almost like a sort of homecoming. I could tell even from like the first time I started playing.
The atmosphere here is very friendly and almost like a family.
It's just a lot of familiar faces.
Real sense of community. It's really refreshing to be able to spend time with people who I haven't seen in a long time.
Even strangers will just be very welcoming.
I've made a lot of really valuable friendships and other connections.
Ridiculously good energy.
There's a really good community here.
They're also encouraging.
The gathering ends up being so good in and of itself, and honestly I think that's the biggest upside of going to the NRG series.
The NRG series is coming to a
everybody, and welcome to round number 3 here at the Nerd Rage Gaming Home Store for our weekly Wednesday Night Modern from Buffalo Grove, Illinois. We are in Buffalo Grove, Illinois, but the truth is that we are in magical Christmas land as the BNR is brand new and in effect round 3. I'm Dom Striker, that is May.
That's me.
And this is Blue Black Necro versus Hammer Time.
Possibly the most beautiful Hammer Time deck of all time.
Dude, Sam's trying. Sam is big homies. Spent so much time figuring out how to make this hammer deck pretty, and is adding 4 foil Mox Opals to the deck.
Foil too?
Yeah, I know he's borrowing today, but the foils are on the way.
Excellent.
Luke, here we have a blue-black version of the Necro deck. Luke has been on Necro for so long. He's been really enjoying the big black version of this deck. I'm wondering if the blue is finding ways to supplement the loss of the One Ring.
I was about to say, so I was talking earlier about decks that are sort of subsidized by the One Ring. I mean, the Frog does a pretty good ring impression, I suppose.
It's Frog. I imagine he might have like Frog, Brain Surge, like some sort of cards to go up on overall advantage. And Frog is interesting because he's a deck full of removal, so he might be able to just clear all the blockers out of the way and just keep frogging.
Just keep frogging. Oh, we've got a main deck, Meat Hook Massacre, all the way on the end of the hand there. That's pretty sick.
Which might be a holdover from trying to beat up on Boros, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be good from beating up on everyone playing Affinity, Hammer Time, like all these pieces, Merfolk, right? Like you don't need to crank it for that much to start taking care of a lot of board states. And Sam here getting the Hollowed Fountain. I've talked and talked and talked. I'm the biggest fan of Surveil lands, and I think Hammer is the only place where I go, I don't want one.
Yeah, because you really want your lands untapped.
Everyone, right? Because
or at least the option to have it untapped every time.
The hard thing is this deck could probably lose immediately if a tapped land is drawn when you need mana, because every little game action counts. Hammer Time uses every mana as much as it possibly can. Luke here setting up this turn number 3, this unaltered, unmessed with Frog. I love at the beginning when they just go, just one.
Just one.
Because they just need the cards right now, and they'll kill you later. And Luke, being a Necro Dominance deck, has a really good outlet for all those extra cards in feeding them all into the Frog.
It doesn't matter, yeah. You can reduce your hand size to 1. No big deal.
Reduce my hand size to Frog, whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, reduce your hand size to Frog. No worries there. It just gets arbitrarily big. And give it flying over and over and over again.
Yes, because
there's no reason to give it flying more than once.
Right.
Combat step. This is not a Colossus Hammer Inkmoth Nexus scenario.
And Sam here is in the squeeze of playing an Urza Saga deck of, do I lose value and try to cast spells, or should he go Construct now, Construct next turn? And playing as a heavy removal style strat like Necro, it might be worthwhile for Sam to cash in the Saga for as much value as possible, make Luke deal with those, and hammer them later.
Well, yeah, I mean, make a construct, get Shadow Spear, cast your what do you call it? Pure Steel Paladin.
Right. You're suddenly moving and grooving.
Now we're really getting somewhere.
Luke pitching that Meat Hook Massacre that we were mentioning, cycling that through the Frog, getting in now for 2 damage and drawing from that Ophidian style ability on Psychic Frog. What up, NRG peeps? Big shouts there in chat. Like I said, Sam looking to probably use Saga, make these Luke's problem, build up resources, and try to go for it later. The last time I played Hammer, you could play not doing it. But Sam has not stopped. The second he kind of found this as like the deck that just really does it for him, he has not moved, he has not grooved, it has just been this.
You know, one thing that I've really noticed since moving here and spending all the time playing weekly is like there are so many specialists, like deck specialists at this store. They're like, I don't care what the meta is, I don't care what's good, I don't care what's bad. What I'm going to do is the thing that I like to do.
I would say we have folks that you can know that 99% of the time they're playing Titan. You know 99% of the time Sam's playing Hammer. We have players that I would call, I used to call them Steam Vents gamers, but I would call them Watery Grave gamers now, right? Of like people that used to be Twin players who used to be then blue-red Delver used to be Murktide players are now kind of the blue-black players.
Yeah, whatever the Xerox deck in
Right.
the format is.
We have, 2 to 3 of those that are always here. And it kind of helps, but then it always gets thrown off by everybody else who's playing the goods, playing the new spice, cycling through their Moxins here for Sam of just using
Wait
it.
a second. This is
You see it?
how much? Like how much damage is this?
Oh, yeah.
Because we
So-
cycle through, we play the hammer, right?
Yep.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4.
So we have 4/4s.
4 4s plus templates, 14. We're coming in for.
18. Oh, one of them is summoning sick,
one
right?
of them
So
is summoning
14 coming in. But Luke tons of mana to work with.
Oh,
I'm gonna push it, he says. No pure steel, no nonsense, no card draw, no movement of the hammer.
still getting in for 4.
So here we come
Well-
with the poke.
Unless we have another removal spell.
Yeah, Luke thumbing through the hand, figuring out does he need to interact? Is this 4/4 need to be dealt with? It's hard when you're playing Necro. Every damage you take is one less card you have to play with later.
And I think he has a March in his hand.
Oh, but one of the best follow-ups to actually slam your Necro, right, of having another outlet to channel all those cards through for life. Luke knows that there's not going to be like some pure like burn damage out of Sam, so if Luke finds an ability to gain a lot of cards, he'd be able to toss them all through that march, bring his life total down real low, and bring it right back up. That's kind of the joys of this Necro deck, is the big life swings.
Yeah. Though, so we know Luke knows the Surge is face up on the table, so I wonder if there would have been some incentive to just fire off double removal spell while you know your opponent is shields down. Right? Because you're saving yourself the 4 damage, and there's another Saga face up on the table too, so you know that these windmills are getting tall.
Right, they're just going to keep coming.
So again, I don't know. I'm not a Necro player, but I just it is something interesting to think about the double removal spell. We fell the Profane all the way here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So we are casting a removal spell while shields are down. So maybe we just didn't have another removal spell last turn.
Yep, so it looks like Luke, sorcery speed on his turn. Like you said, playing around this Surge, fell the Profaning one of these constructs that Sam just has a little bit less to work with. Esper Sentinel.
Pretty good.
This Mox Opal card taps for any mana of any color. Wow.
That's crazy.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Is it even better than the original Moxen? They only tap for 1.
Okay. we can't do this. No, not today, please. As the windmill charging on in, currently a 4/4, but that could change if Sam wants it to.
Yeah, so we know it's still 4/4. So we lost an artifact, but we replayed an artifact.
Luke thumbing through a Soul Spike in his hand, so a card that could deal 4 damage.
Oh.
But depending on who moves first, depends on if Luke can or can't use that to deal with this construct. If Luke acts first, Sam can make a construct.
Yeah, so you can make a construct while you draw.
And draw through his Esper Sentinel. And now it's about, does Sam have a use for more of his mana? Should he Surge and then use the other 2 mana? Or should he use his mana to make a construct to save this construct just through pure, I have a 5/5 now?
Yeah,
But the use of the Surge would make Luke not gain life, as there would no longer be a target.
Interesting. I kind of like that, actually. So you know that there's 2 ways for your opponent to blank your removal spell, and you're basically just being like, okay, well, but you have to pick one. Oh, but never mind.
Sam got the best of both worlds of being able to cash in this Surge and use a Stoneforge Mystic here.
Oh, okay. The Gambit did not pay off.
Yeah, and now Sam has access to the Morgul Knife. Shadow Spear will be incoming next turn. Luke drew his cards and took a big stretch and a big breath. I don't want to say it, but I really miss that Meathook Massacre we discarded on turn 3.
Yeah, Meathook Massacre would be is cleaning up at least 2 of these guys here, which is good. We're drawing a card.
Incoming Beak
Incoming
Frog.
Damnation. Here we go.
Oh, that's an Inquisition of Kozilek.
That didn't look like Damnation. Inquisition, I guess, blanks the knife.
Right, but Luke, without blockers currently, needs to deal with the knife and put some blockers down into play.
Oh, you're right.
And Soul Psych on the Stoneforge.
Yeah, fair enough.
but the construct currently a 4/4 in Shieldred.
Okay.
Luke just slamming the card down, flailing his hands, going, "You got it. Can you kill me or can you not?"
Shoulder's a good place to be.
And shield your trigger.
Shoulder trigger.
Interesting killing the Stoneforge. The plays that Luke should be worried about are almost mana disadvantage to use them through Stoneforge. A hammer or a Shadow Spear costing less mana than there is to activate Stoneforge. But I think the card carries such pedigree that sometimes folks feel they just need to get it off the board.
Right.
And now Sam, I believe, in response to a Saga trigger, making another windmill, getting tall, as you said.
Yep. Mikey Hobson asks, what's the revealed card? That is Shadow Spear.
Yep, that is the Morgul Knife copy of Shadow Spear from the Lord of the Rings expansion versions of the cards.
Yep.
Trailed off at the end, but it is the Morgul Knife, a.k.a. Shadow Spear.
Not to be confused with the other full art Universes Beyond Shadow Spear, which is Laura Croft's spear.
Yeah. Yeah, not to be confused.
Not
Please,
to be confused
please don't. Yeah.
Okay, so we tapped a Mox for mana.
Yeah, and then cycled into a new Mox.
Cycled into a new Mox.
This allows the Urza Saga to not be negative mana for the turn, as Sam loses a mana source but gains a fresh untapped mana source.
It's good.
Because I think Sam is trying to use, again, I said this at the beginning, Hammer tries to use as much of its mana as much as it can. Sam looks to possibly using every single drop of mana to try to put this game away this turn.
Yeah, so we're looking to play and equip Shadow Spear, basically. So that's what we need all the mana for.
Yeah, Sam has a 5/5. The Shadow Spear will make it a 6/6. The equip will make it a 7/7. Here's the Lava Spur Boots. A good use of the additional mana to give the second construct haste, right? Now both of them can get in.
Oh, now are we on Shieldred has to chump duty?
I believe Sam is putting Luke on the you have to chump with your Shieldred. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. So one is a 7/7 with the buff from the boots, and one is a 6/6.
And we're representing another protection spell with basic planes up.
Sam gets to leave this planes, and the face down card can just always have Surge written on it because that's how Luke has to treat it.
Yeah, and it is. In my experience, the Hammer players always have it.
Yeah. It's in the same way of, I always talk about doing burn math, where just every card in their hand is a bolt no matter what it is, and I need to play that way. Same thing here for Luke. You just need to play like that card as a protection spell, but we're not going to be able to play through it or around it. Scooping them up here in this game number 1. Hammer had to play the slow, dirtily, get my Saga, slowly build everything up plan, but Luke just couldn't quite catch up, and we're moving on now to game number 2.
So I got a glimpse of that card. I think it was a protection spell. I think it was Blacksmith's Guild.
Of course it was, right?
Of course it was, right? Like I said, they always have it.
Luke submitted a deck list.
Oh, here we
Big
go.
shouts. Then we can take a peek here. Sideboard cards are 2 Cling to Dusk, 1 Surgical Extraction, 2 Break the Ice, 2 Shieldred's Edict, 2 Force of Despair, Toxic Deluge, 3 Ravenous Trap, and 2 Damping Spheres.
What do we like here? The Edict, not bad.
Edict is so hard because you're usually the most scared of the creature wearing the hammer and not scared of the other 3 that are just hanging out.
No, that's true. Yeah, there's always going to be dorks hanging out.
The worry is the dorks, right? A card that could be interesting, depending on how Luke feels, is bringing in these Force of Despairs and understanding that you sometimes will 2-for-1 yourself to maybe get even more out of what Sam's doing, right? Some of these early draws of like, oh, let me go like 1/1/0 or activate my Saga to get this construct and then play a creature. Luke might be able to trade kind of evenly on using that Force of Despair to make sure that there aren't a lot of creatures to deal with. This was a card that was big in stopping Nadu players, but it could be a card for stopping Hammer players.
I can see that because you've got your Soul Spikes and Marches and stuff, so you're already sort of built to be pitching a bunch of your cards into your other cards. So that seems to be pretty reasonable.
And then, I mean, who doesn't bring in their Surgical Extraction? The thing is if Luke Thought Seizes or Inquisitions grabs a hammer and then Surgicals it, they're going to feel very smart. I'm not saying it's correct. I'm saying it's what people do.
Very polarizing card, right? Because sometimes you play it and you feel like a genius, and sometimes you're like, man, I wish this had been anything else.
And sometimes you're Charlie Dusterberger, and you use it to help your team win the NRG team event and immortalize yourself forever on a clue token while you're actively surgically extracting a Nadu. I mean, you never know, right? The highs and the lows.
I suppose you could just be surgical extracting some random something or other to check for Swan Song.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
Right. So these are the goods from Luke. We can imagine maybe these forces, maybe a deluge, right? If I was Luke, I'd be so sad about pitching that meat hook early, just knowing that might just need some ways to control the board.
Oh, going to 6.
From Sam's side, I know looking at his sideboard earlier that he has Sanctifier Envex in his deck, the pro red, pro black, and get those cards out of the graveyard. Really, really good at making sure there's not food for a flying frog, as well as having a creature that's very hard for Luke to get off the board. And what that typically means is a good creature to put a hammer on.
Yeah, protection from black.
Pretty good against the mono black frog deck, right? This deck is mono black in reality. The frog is basically just doing its best and hanging out. Luke on the hunt here. Talk about another deck that slowly gets some beautiful signed versions of cards. Luke is also a fine collector of cardboard, so we might see some goods out of them as well.
I should get more cards in my Merfolk deck signed.
It's really cool when you have like a deck. I'm also slowly becoming a big fan of getting cards signed by like friends and fellow players who are specialists.
I do have some of those. My Tricksters are signed by my Merfolk friends back from Maine.
Perfect,
so
right?
We love that.
As Luke here, starting with a big Inquisition of Kozilek, getting a look at the grip, couple of lands here, Stoneforge, Spell Pierce, Surge of Salvation, and Mox Opal. I'm ripping this Stoneforge.
Yeah, the Stoneforge has got to be the answer here because, I mean, you still could be in trouble with the Saga play, but other than that, the hand is not really doing a whole lot. Which actually, I do wonder. Do you think Luke brought the Break the Ices in?
Oh, Break the Ice hits cards that tap for colorless or snow, right?
Yeah.
Which would hit Sagas and any floating Inkmoth Nexus.
Inkmoth, yeah. Right?
I mean, it's one of those things that I never would have done it until you said it, and I go, yeah, I probably should have done that.
So we hit the opal there, valuing the
Thoughtseizing land, right?
Yeah.
It's just removing a mana source.
Oh, so there's that grid where it's like, what is bolting the bird, right? So if you fatal push a Elvish Mystic,
that's bolt the bird.
Thought seizing a Mox Opal.
Bolt the bird?
Is that the same as bolting a bird?
The mana source has been removed by my 1 mana card.
Right.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll take it. As Sam here, as this hand is kind of a clear indicator, this is a Saga hand, right?
Yep.
And Sam was left with this Stoneforge that is most likely going to get a card that Sam is going to be able to use to create value. So this can be a very clear indicator of what he's up to, and it's the coat.
Oh, the coat.
Right, because this is the card that's going to generate the most card advantage over time for Sam out of a single piece of cardboard. Grabbing Cauldra means if Luke answers a Stoneforge, Sam could never Cauldra. But grabbing this coat means that Sam is going to have a threat that's hard for Luke to deal with, while also being able to actively use his mana if he starts flooding. Big Cryptic Coat fan.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great little. I don't know if you call it a juke, but it's a very good read that, okay, your mono black opponent is definitely just going to kill your Stoneforge on sight because they didn't Thoughtseize it.
Right.
Or didn't Inquisition it. So you're not going to go for the high value, like, this is the most impactful play. You want to be a little smarter about it.
And this is Sam understanding that his hand isn't fast, right? He doesn't have a bunch of dorks in play. He doesn't have the setup. He doesn't have hammer plus equipper, right? So this is his way to, in a single card, gain something to really start grinding through the mid game. And all of it could change in an instant.
There it is. We got it in around the Spell Pierce.
The one thing for Luke is there is not currently a target in play for a March, and there is not currently a Shield Druid in play, which means this is the turn where Luke needs to be careful of just how far he wants to dig.
I bet he goes for 10.
I would bring myself to not under hammer numbers.
Nope, he paid 12.
which is on the hunt for a soul spikes, right?
Yeah.
Finding any ways to go up top and recoup this card advantage / disadvantage, but also allows Luke to maybe sculpt a hand to have a big impactful turn 4.
Yeah, I mean, if you're paying 12 life, you, you must have a plan. Or maybe your plan is, I'll find a plan. Okay, that's a great start. Soul Spike you.
I wonder at that point how different the go to 7 is from go to 1. If your plan has gone to be find as many soul spikes as you can, but looks like we found 1 spike hovering at 11 points of light for Luke, and now sculpting the perfect 5 and pitching the rest. Color me intrigued.
Yeah, this is interesting because you also have to sculpt a perfect 5 where you know about Cryptic Coat and Surge of Salvation
And Spell Pierce, and a Saga that Sam's most likely going to go activate for the next 2 turns.
But if he goes activate, then you're not playing the coat.
Yes.
So this is like the mono black equivalent of you figure it out and you just turn all your dice sideways, you know?
Right.
It's like math is for blockers.
I'm going to dig through all of these cards. You let me know if I die.
Yeah.
And it looks like Sam is going to lean on the power of Urza Saga here to go Construct beats.
Yep.
What's really nice about that has been the introduction of the boots, the Lava Spur boots, that Sam can go make a Construct, untap, make... Now,
baby.
here we are, right? This is most likely the card that Luke was digging for. This is the good card to play on turn 4 that Luke was on the hunt for, because now Luke can Necro all the way down to 1, draw 10, gain 20, and start turning this into an actual life gain source.
So this is not going to happen. But while we're calling shots, Luke says, I pay 10 into Necro. Sam says, on the stack, gut shot.
So what I might have done if I was Sam, and this is super risky, is Surge of Salvation with the Necro on the stack, because then Luke can't throw any of his soul spikes at me, and he just burns all of these cards. Because now Sam is instead cashing the Spell Pierce for that same roll.
Yep. So we're spell piercing that, but it also means we're not making a construct.
Right.
Is 4 life worth a construct? Well, I guess you're never swinging through the children, so yes.
Interesting.
Luke is pretty in control of this game.
Right.
I think when you draw 22 cards and your life total is still above 20.
The hard part is Luke, a deck designed to do exactly this. Sam's deck kind of lying in wait to do what his plan is. So the part that can be a little bit secretive is just how much does Sam really need to suddenly pop off in response. So here's the Shieldred taking a little off Sam. And Sam, if we see him make a construct, we know there aren't big plans in the work, but if we see float mana search, then it might spell doom.
Yeah, because if we're searching, we can still get the boots. So haste is on the table.
Haste is on the table. I mean, it would need to be like haste, hammer nonsense. Like, I don't think there's enough to play with here, but if anyone's gonna figure it out, yeah.
Oh, okay, so we are floating the mana.
Yeah, Sam understanding that he needs his mana to cast his spells and impact the board state, because Luke is all set up with Luke's plan already.
Yep, we got the hammer.
The hard thing is we've seen 2 spikes out of Luke so far, right?
Right.
Which means Luke can't, like, random draw into lethal, right? He only has 8 available, but could pair that with 2 of Sam's draw steps to kind of get this last 11. So Sam does not have much time.
Right, and children can also just get in the red zone. So
Unacceptable.
That's 4 damage too. You know, there's a secret mode actually on Children where she can attack.
Where she's a 4 or 5
She's a
death
4 or 5,
toucher.
yeah.
There's even more to the impact it has on the overall board state, but then also the red zone.
Yeah, she feels like she's an enchantment or a planeswalker or something. Yeah, no, she has.
The same way ever since they gave static abilities to walkers, right? You're like,
Right.
oh yeah, and more.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Shielder is the reverse of just this static enchantment that, oops, could also attack for 4.
So we put the boots in. We played the boots with our floating mana.
I think Sam has visually given up this game.
Yeah, the now that the hoodie has come over.
Yeah. That's either the given up state or the tank, right? Of figuring out he found the boots now. That's purposeful, right? Of understanding that he might be able to put something together, but needs to weave very specific pieces. And Luke needs to probably start counting his cards in library.
Yeah, and so he has 3 face down cards. We know Stoneforge is one, Spell Pierce is another, and X, which I don't think is turning into a win on Sam's next turn.
No, not yet. And again, like you said, shielded in combat. Luke could dig for every card but the bottom one of library on the hunt for soul spikes with the mana to pay for pierces if he really wants it.
So I think he just drew 20, right?
9. Gained 18.
Gained 18.
All right, buddy. I see you. Or maybe 21 to 41, so maybe he drew 10. I just miscounted slightly. So, okay, Luke. Doth thou have 2 spikes? There's a 1.
There's 1. So, yeah, you cast a Surge.
Great.
And then
Perfect.
you
And
can spike. You can second spike in response, I suppose.
right, and Luke's posturing maybe indicates not currently have second spike. What I would like to see from Luke is throwing all of these excess cards into a march on his own Frog. As Frog doesn't mean anything in this game as it is, but if it could mean gain another 20-some life, I'm kind of interested in that cash.
So we're just going to count up the number of cards.
Or throw them into the Frog.
Yeah, I was about to
Either
say,
drop them or throw them.
Yeah, I think we're turning our hand into frog food here, because we still have exactly enough cards in our actual graveyard to give it flying next turn.
Luke does have 3 for the jump. Okay, I understand.
Exactly 3 for the So
Well,
frog,
and the
frog
edicts did come in, so a good catch from that earlier. And the edict would be a clean answer to the cryptic code if Sam, that was his plan. But
so what do we got? We got land. That's not going to do it.
yeah, because we know the rest of what Sam had, right? If you're Luke, Luke is definitely still concerned, but at 41, there are not the pieces here.
Yeah, because so Sam needs to put 2. Two blockers into play to not die face up.
What Sam needs to do is check the graveyard, see if there are any sideboarded cards to be well prepared to have game 3 on the play with your aggro/combo deck against this mono black deck that needs a little bit of time.
Right? Like you play an enchantment on 3 and then a creature on 4?
Yeah, Luke did exactly just interact, Necro, Shieldred. Oh, you lose because I just have every card in my library in my hand.
And, I'll say it. One Ring who?
I mean,
I don't know her.
The point of this deck was that all of your great draws were oops, I drew a ring or oops, I drew Necro.
Right.
And now Luke is subsidizing it with oops, I drew Necro or here's a Frog, which is working.
Yeah.
2-0. I mean, all tied up here against a very, very aggressive Hammer Time deck with Moxes that are in it now. So this will be an important deciding game between these players. Looking to go undefeated on the day that we all return back to Magical Christmas Land.
It is. I said it earlier. It's beginning to look a lot like Magical Christmas Land. Toys in every store, including this one.
Keep going.
Nerd Rage Gaming. Purchase all your Christmas toys.
Yes. Yeah. I literally.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. I literally got to the point where, as a grown adult, I'm like, whenever they're like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I'm like, I don't know. I've gotten to the point where I just go, "This is a link to a box of Duskborn." I'm just like, I would love to play Standard so much. Check these out. You can buy them local to yourself. You can buy it at nerdragegaming.com. You can pick up all the singles that you need. Before you know it, people will be going to Spotlight Series Atlanta to play big matches of Standard, as well as the NRG Series again returning in early February. And I mean, we're going to be playing the fun cards. So pick them up when you need them. Now is a great time during the holiday season. Pick them up, as I always call them, a gift to myself.
And use the wish list feature.
Everyone knows I'm a big fan.
I went through recently and added all the Fortnite lands to my
Okay.
wish list.
So I did a similar thing a few weeks ago of just clicked on the secret layers tab and added every card that I'd like to know when it comes in.
Yeah.
Did the same thing. I searched for the words borderless and full art and shows all the beauties I don't have yet. It's a fun search and showcase, right? Searching for all the goodies and adding things on, but also watching great new modern coverage and great new standard of I just find myself after and interested in a lot of cards right now. You and I were both saying of fun purchases from Nerd Rage of incredibly impactful new cards for modern and fluff for my commander deck where I have 4 Village Bell Ringers, 4 Pestermites, 4 Deceiver Exarch, and an Omniscience of just like, well, these are cards that I'm picking up.
Yeah, you know, I'm rounding out my Oculus sideboard and standard and picking up a bunch of dopey Orzhov cards.
Just, I mean,
a Shadowheart deck.
Yeah, just the fun combination of here's the goods and I buy them all. I've seen them on my wish list right here, nerdragegaming.com. But our good friend Luke here in this 2-0 bracket trying to survive against.
He's on 5.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Against MC Hammer himself, Sam, and it needs to be a real good 5 because the confidence of Sam is going to grow with every less card that Luke has to work with.
Yep.
Oh no.
Oh, we're not going to 4. We can't. No, not like this, Luke. Not like this.
Luke's go to 4 will need to be like Swamp, March, black card,
You're
and
3
Pray.
Yeah, you're 3 for wanting yourself. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Luke. I think Luke has like 2 lands and a frog, but.
Oh, but it was like a swamp and a boggart.
And a boggart trawler, yeah.
That's not gonna do it. Sam, meanwhile.
Okay.
Ornithopter, plains.
Oh, the quick hands. Ornithopters are the quick hands. The quick hands. All right, he's got Stoneforge to go with his Ornithopter. A couple of lands.
Fetch land, Windswept Heath. This is a fun game to try to play.
Luke, can I please recommend Watery Grave Swamp Push Push?
Ooh, okay, there we go.
Yeah. Okay, we have Waterlogged Teaching. That's a blue-black source.
That's a blue-black source.
I'm seeing a Soul Spike, a Necro Dominus. The first card thought to be tucked away, a Soul Spike.
You don't keep Soul Spike here.
A Bowmaster. Okay, Bowmaster can buy a lot of time for Luke if he keeps that one.
Don't do it.
Yeah, these are the cards going back. This is Necro Spike.
Yeah.
Which means he's keeping, I think, land, Bowmaster or something.
Knowing that you're putting 2 spikes on the bottom of your deck
means find a fetch land, right? Shuffle those in.
Does this deck play? Oh no, it does because it has Watery Graves and stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
so it must play fetch lands. Okay.
Right, because it's not Belger, it's just Necro.
Right.
Here's Ornithopter. Here's a Windswept. Here's a pass.
Okay. Whew.
Well,
Is Sigardizade in this deck?
Great question, right? Sam's been doing these first 2 games without the Sigardizade. Waterlog Teaching on its land side for Luke being a blue-black tap land. And Sam setting up his mana, most likely a tapped Hollowed Fountain, is indeed.
Yep.
But
look at this, 2 tapped duels, neither of which have the text Surveil 1.
One of them doesn't even have the fetchable land types on it.
It's a whole new modern. No more Surveil.
It's a whole new modern. Instead of surveilling, they're out here faithless looting and mox opaling and oh yeah, also playing those alongside the fetch lands, the shock lands, the surveillance. Welcome to modern. Its identity continues to grow as all the boomer cards have returned to us. Like Stoneforge, right?
Yeah.
This is a boomer card that returned to us a couple of years ago for the same reason of WotC indicating cards that are beloved, powerful, but of appropriate power level for the format. We've reached the beloved part of a lot of the unbanned cards, and the important question will be judging the power level of what's been returned to us. Inquisition for Luke. I saw you grab a hammer. I'd like to take that hammer, says Luke.
Yeah, nice hammer. Search your library for an equipment, put it in your hand, discard it.
Like a gamble.
Oh,
okay.
No.
A coat and another Pierce Your Paladin, a Stoneforge all over again. What's important here for Luke is that these are a lot of good cards, but very small amount of damage output currently. Here's a coat off the Stoneforge, saving just a little bit of mana. If I remember correctly, Sam has beautiful morph tokens from the Lorcana game, morph from Treasure Planted. There it is, baby.
How about that?
It's morph, get it?
It's morph. It is morph. And it says Ward 2 on it. I love that.
I see the word too. The only part that's difficult is Morph and Lorcana is a 2/1. but
Oh,
we
yeah.
came so close to greatness.
So what are we doing in Lorcana? We're questing for ink.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Lorcana.
And they shift, which is their version of like digivolving, right? But morph can be the beginning of anything because he's morph.
Oh, gotcha.
So he's like a changeling for digivolving. And let me mention as many different things
Yeah.
as possible.
So yeah, when you put a rare candy on him, you can go up to any
You're getting it. You're
level
getting
3 Pokemon.
it. As a Psychic Frog comes on down, most likely on blocker duty for Luke because Sam is presenting a lot of threats. But remember, Ornithopter in the sky, Cryptic Coat unblockable. This frog, not actually, even though I said it, on blocking duty right now. Instead, we see Sam with a Pure Steel and a Stoneforge in hand. Could
Not
be
playing
on the
namesake. Not just jamming a Necro Dominance.
out of Luke.
Hit the 3 mana.
I wonder if worried about his life total, or we saw him have to pitch one back to the bottom when he mulliganed. Maybe just not enough cards to work with. Has not found it just yet.
No, he has one.
Oh, and just needed to jam this frog
Yeah,
instead.
played the frog instead.
Huh. The thing is
Maybe he didn't know that the 3/2 was unblockable.
yeah, he did just read the coat now. That's always the hardest part with interacting with cards you haven't seen in a while, being like, oh, that's on me. I should have done something before this. So now this allows this coat to get in for 3 points of damage. I call Cryptic Coat True Name Nemesis. It's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
You got a 3/2 unblockable ward 2. Stoneford Mystic here on the hunt for another card for Sammy G. Finding.
Now you can get your Cauldra complete because you have 2 Stoneforge. Nope,
Yeah,
you just get a
but that's kind of a kind of baited you. I think Cauldra is long gone removed from this deck.
Oh.
But you know your opponents don't know that, and there are 2 Hammer players here at the store. Cauldra long gone from Sam's version, but Cauldra very much so alive in our other player's version out there.
I see.
Which blurs the line for when you are a competitor, where you go, I've played against Hammer, but just which Hammer is it?
I guess Pure Steel Paladin, grab another hammer is like a build your own Cauldra. So you're giving something plus a lot.
Plus a lot. Yeah. So this Pure Steel is going to be the equipper for Sam. Sam mainly just trying to make it to next turn without something going horrifically wrong here.
Without Morph smacking him for 13.
You're right. So Luke might be on the hunt here for like land damnation as like his big prayer. And if one of the face down cards for Sam is Spell Pierce, it's going to go so wrong so fast. And it's the Necro Dominance, as you said.
Yep.
Knew it was in Luke's hand. Luke could go a digging for ways to try to remove some of these creatures, ergo those soul spikes. But the Ward 2 on this face down creature is going to really help him survive.
Yeah, so it has Ward 2.
Sure does.
It has
Unblockable.
You're looking at 13 damage on the board. Actually, you're looking at 14 damage on the board because you only have 1 blocker for 2 Stoneforge.
Correct.
So you're taking.
So Luke knows that
you can't
he's
even draw that many cards.
right because on board he sees Hammer plus Equip, which means Luke can draw like 1, maybe 2 cards off this Necro, based on the lethal currently in play.
Yeah. Because.
There we go.
We drew 10 cards.
Hey, go a digging. All right, Luke.
You need more soul spikes.
Is there a black spirit guide?
Could you imagine?
I can, and now's the time for it.
Zombie Spirit Guide.
Yeah, we have the Elvish and the Simian.
Merfolk Spirit Guide, 2/2 with Island Walk, Exile.
It gets an ability?
Oh yeah, no, it's a Spirit Guide. So you add a blue mana to your mana pool. You can use it only to cast artifact or creature spells.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
you only can cast Merfolk or an
Or
Ether
not.
Vial.
Right. Totally balanced.
Very balanced. Hey, the last time I joked about creating a Merfolk card, it was literally Flood Moon. So
it was literally Flood Moon. You
that
were
was
close.
That was a called shot.
You were close, I remember, on that one. I think you weren't expecting it to be a 2/2. It's like they made it a little better than you thought it would be.
a little better than I thought it would be, yeah.
You might have said 2-1. I think you were like that close.
So now we're at 10, and we're putting 5 cards into our hand.
Yeah.
I guess we passed the vibe check. We use the soul spike to fish for a an interaction spell, so a spell pierce or something or other.
Luke, I worry you're dead.
I worry Luke is also dead.
Maybe he was supposed to soul spike the ward creature and hope his opponent doesn't announce his trigger.
See, I feel like. I mean, you played your outs.
Yeah, speaking of outs, I think Sam might be out of here. Hammer, equip trigger, for 0.
Second soul spike.
13, yeah.
Okay.
Luke, thank you for playing. Sammy G taking it down here. 3-0 on the night, 2-1 from this game with Mox Opals and his tried and true, beautiful Chef's Kiss version of Blue-White Hammer Time.
Is Hammer Time back?
Well, I think everyone's back for now. For the next 3 to 4 weeks, everyone's back. And not just decks, but the players.
The players. Though there is no Modern next week or the week after.
Dang holidays.
Right, because it's Christmas and New Year's.
Dang the holidays. Tons of time for us to love and enjoy the format from afar and hope that more people don't break it down. We have another match.
They were the last
Oh my
match.
goodness, they were the last match. So what that means is we are going to take the quickest, oh so quick break so Maniac can get a little bit of drink, but we'll be right back ASAP with your round number 4. Please don't go anywhere. Be right back.
I'll be
Bye.
front left.
everybody, and welcome back to round number 4 of local Wednesday Night Modern here from the Nerd Rage Gaming home store in beautiful Buffalo Grove, Illinois. But if you squint and look just right, we're in Magical Christmas Land. I'm Dom Striker alongside May. Take it away.
That's me. Okay, so here we go. We've got Faithless Looting on Faithless Looting action.
Yeah, this is looting be looting. Jovan here playing Hollow One strategy, trying to get the most out of discarding some cards and playing some free 4/4s. And Mike in the same way, trying to get some big free threats into play, but maybe having to try just a little bit harder.
So yeah, we could be. Oh.
Aviva, that one's good. We can read it. Much appreciated. We're getting the players just adjusting that phone real quick so that you folks at home as well as us can play along and keep track of this whole game. Jovan with this DRC in play can be hopefully a very, very good engine for churning through this deck.
Here it is. Have Darcy and Looting ever been legal together?
Not even close.
Wow.
Well, in this format, right?
Well now.
Yeah.
But
Darcy's so fresh from how long ago we lost Looting.
it all just blends together. Like,
Right.
You know, I'm like, oh yeah, like Modern is still a fresh new format. It's like, no, Modern came out in like 2009
Yes.
or something. You know?
Jovan discarding a Phoenix to Faithless Looting, but not the one that initially got it banned, but new toy in Detectives Phoenix from MH3.
That's sick.
And here's a push on that DRC because, oh yeah, on top of everything else, I think Jovan got Delirium there along the way.
And another Goyf.
And this Netherglyph, I believe, power 4, we're looking at creature, sorcery, enchantment, and land in the yard.
Why is this push so far away from the library?
Oh, Mike's graveyard's over there. You get used.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
There's some players who just have habits that you know you'll never break. I just know that Mike's graveyard's way over there.
Hey, fair enough.
Here's second looting for Jovan.
I like to play with my lands in front, so.
Right. Jovan discarding the Phoenix for the first one and possibly some excess lands. And again,
how big is this Goyf already?
4. We've got enchantment, creature, land, sorcery. We've just gone through the same lands, enchantments, and sorceries twice now.
Oh, right. So.
But if Jovan wanted, Jovan could collect evidence and put a little bit of flying action on this Netherglyph, but he would lose a little to gain a little, so it's not worth it right now.
Yeah.
Because you have to exile a lot of this graveyard to do that.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Hey.
And then we're following it up with another Netherglyph.
Okay, Jovan. And the leftovers look to be land push for Jovan.
Nope,
and here's a counterspell.
The
card that I've seen Michael Ryan play the most. He is one of those, I said, tried and true Steam Vent gamers become Water Your Grave gamers, kind of following where the blue spells go, where the counter spells and the cantrips go. And Mike and friend finding themselves on this Grixis Reanimator deck tonight.
So every time this Dimir land comes into play, I cannot remember that.
Oh, the Undercity Sewer?
Undercity Sewers. I keep looking and I was like, yeah, that's Meticulous Archive. All these leyline ones look so similar.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And looks like this card was not Entomb, but is a card that Mike wants to keep on top. Oh, still debating. Still debating. Say goodbye to land.
Goodbye, Pluto Delta. We hardly knew ye.
And Pluto Delta is not a clear indicator to Jovan of kind of any of the strength of Mike's hand, right? Sometimes you'll know from when a player surveils of like, oh, I don't need that or whatever. But lands are sometimes the most mid of, I don't know. We kind of all do and don't need these all the time.
Right.
Here's Expressive Iteration. Here in the only format you can legally play it.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
This is the one.
This is it. Commander.
Yeah. You can mention Tiny Leaders as well if you'd like.
Pendragon.
Great. Gladiator.
Yep, Gladiator. Oathbreaker.
Oathbreaker. Dan.
Oh,
be a sick Dan card.
You do see it in some Dan lists.
You know the very bottom card of the Dan stack.
Yep. I love Dan.
Jovan flashing back a Faithless Looting.
You know we have Dan at Magicons now?
I heard that, the Forgetful Fish event.
Yeah.
Oh, this Street Wraith, the perfect card to allow you a very easy source for collecting evidence. But Mike looks to be quickly tapping blue. What could it be?
Blue.
Another of these Magicon Chicago counterspells.
Is collect evidence as a spell? Oh,
yep.
when you collect evidence, you cast it as a spell.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has to exile X amount, in this case 6, and then cast the spell. So in this case, the Phoenix says that you can do so from the yard for its bestow cost, yada yada, but the counterspell tagged it here. And now a DRC has joined the fray. This poor Nethergoyf feels like it should have been bigger. So many cards looted through, but
Right?
oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
we got a persist.
Yeah, Mike drew a persist, and he's discarding an island.
And
An
an Archon.
There it is.
Let's go.
There it is. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Here we go.
Oh, he's persisting it back. Oh, how interesting. Trigger. Cruel Ultimatum. That is why this card is called Archon of Cruelty, I believe. It's very close to a Cruel Ultimatum.
Cruel Ultimatum is a card that I miss. The modern that I remember.
Well, if you could 2 mana put your Cruel Ultimatum in play, you would still be doing so.
No, I want to spend 9 mana. Snapcaster Mage my Cruel Ultimatum.
That's my bad. That's on me. DRC was eaten up by this Archon as well as cards out of Yovan's hand, as well as 3 points of life. Mike gaining 3, gaining this Archon, and gaining a card.
Yeah, been Hollow One. We're past the Hollow One stage of
But
this game.
this puts the Necrogoyf to a 5/6, and it would win in combat against this Archon.
Oh, you're right.
As the Archon, though it is the white die, remember this is a -1 counter on the Archon from the Persist, which means it's a 5/5 versus Yovan's 5/6.
So you kind of you can just take 5 here, right?
Mike can, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he knows with his Archon attack, he'll gain his 3 back up to 8. Be able to thread that needle for a little while.
No, don't get rid of the Hollow One. Don't collect that evidence.
Put the evidence back.
Oh.
But this will give the +2 from the Phoenix, makes this a 6-power flyer.
Okay.
Which means it still wins in combat against the Archon.
But if you had not collected that evidence, or maybe I guess you need to spend it. Okay, never mind.
And like you said, Mike pretty quick just takes the damage from this big flying Goyf. Yovan, 3 mana. This is another flashback fluting.
I think it's cast the other Netherglyph, right?
Oh, for its escape cost, right? You have to exile Delirium from the yard.
Because otherwise you just lose your huge threat when
he needs
Archon
fodder
goes-
to.
Yeah.
And Yovan keeping himself with a DRC, a fluting, and a land, so keeping these at 3 powers. But this leaves Yovan a lethal threat in play with this 5-power Necrogoyf, but Mike will go up to 7 from the Archon attack.
Yeah. It looks maybe to 6 because they're going to 3 because of the fetch land.
From the fetch. Okay, so Yovan's not that far off. If he flashbacks looting and gets another card type into the yard, bingo, bango, bongo, that's 6.
Right, and it looks like I think Johan has lightning bolts in his deck.
Oh, well, I mean, tale as old as time. That'll get it done too.
So, like you both have to attack with this Archon, and you also don't want to, right?
Yeah, because if Mike doesn't attack, he's gonna fall super behind to Yovan now having 2 of these Necrogoyfs. Because the no attack leaves you with a blocker that you then have to trade into the chump bus. They sink into stupor.
Oh, okay. This is sick. So
It's going to force him to sacrifice this. But remember, collect evidence. The Phoenix will fall off. And if Yovan wants, the Phoenix could block this Archon.
Oh. Yeah. Because it's a bestow.
It's bestowed.
It's bestowed. Okay.
It's bestowed. The indicator from its enchantment card type, allowing it to have this collect evidence plus bestow. Watsy's favorite thing of mechanic A plus mechanic B.
Big fan. So now we're up at 6.
Oh, and Yovan just took this, so did not block with this Phoenix. Because he just needs to find 4 points of damage alongside it.
What do we draw? Red spell? Was it lightning bolt?
It's hard to tell. Oh, this is a flashback faithless looting. Losing the sorcery card type, but not currently a Goyf play. It's Ox of Agonis, Necrogoyf in hand. Yovan just draws, I think another Goyf and some air and picks them up. Really a big swing back and forth between what this Hollow One kind of / Delirium strat could put together, but just one big Arcani boy in play really fought back against it. This is a Dimir Reanimator deck. Know that the recent unban of Faithless Looting has added red cards into here. as well as I believe expressive iteration, because once you got red, you might as well. So one of the main key things is when we look at the sideboard here, recognize that our player most likely does not have Harbinger of the Seas, with it now being a 3-color deck, not able to kind of lean on those blue cards. But we may have things like Massacre Worm. I would love if that's in the sideboard. Consign to Memories, Force of Negations, Mystical Disputes, Toxic Deluge, Ghost, Vacuum. If Mike has pieces of graveyard interaction in any way, shape, or form, I have interest in those, whether it's Vacuums, Relics, Soul Guide, whatever it may be. We saw that there's kind of this Delirium-esque side plan to what Jovan has going on, so that'll definitely help. And beyond that, maybe a little more. Like, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, the Deluge, maybe, if that's in the list. If there are Ghost Vacuums or any other graveyard interaction, we're definitely going to want that, because we are stopping the Goyfs from getting rebought.
Yes.
We're potentially pinning down the count, the power of
Right.
those for the Delirium, and we're taking down the Phoenixes.
It eats the Goyfs, eats the Phoenixes, it eats the Delirium, right, just of the yard. So if we have any way to attack the graveyard, I think that's where Mike will start first, and then he can flavor his interaction to taste just right for what he's looking for.
Also, big fan of Dreams of Steel and Oil.
Still,
yeah.
even with the removal of its big target in the One Ring.
I mean, there's still things that you want to be exiling, right? There's still exiling a Flage is still sick.
Yes, the Flage is the big one, right? Of being able to take that from the hand direct into exile is a big move.
Or, I mean, even against other Reanimator strategies, right?
Yes.
Like taking somebody's Archon, taking somebody's eyeballs.
Which will be important with the returning of Faithless Looting. There'll be just more decks trying to put A into graveyard and bring it back with B. So.
Yeah. Thoughtseize plus exile is potent.
Yes. And speaking of Thoughtseize, I saw Jovan throwing through his sideboard real quick before we brought this up. I think the first thing I saw him do was slam 3 to 4 Thoughtseizes out of that sideboard and bring those in to help fight against Michael Ryan and his Reanimator strat.
Persists. 2 lands.
We're going to take a quick look at the backup match because Viva says it's sweet.
Okay.
So Sam Brown, I believe, is currently looping with Asmo and Academy while there's a creature with like 3 hammers on it. So thanks for stopping by. Those are our undefeated players. We want to make sure we get Jovan on camera to feature just as many as possible of these unbanned cards on coverage. And that is a Faithless Looting, discarding Land Detective's Phoenix fully in 1 card, creating full Delirium among Jovan's discards and casted spell.
And here comes Thoughtseize.
All right. Jovan, all I recommend is if there's an Archon, don't pick it.
Don't pick the
Don't pick it. And there's Oculus, don't pick it.
Don't accidentally pick the Oculus. It's not.
Now, Persist?
Those stern scoldings don't work.
They'll hit the DRC.
They'll hit the Darcy.
They'll hit.
They don't hit the Goyf.
But, they hit the most naked Goyf,
They
right?
hit small Goyfs.
An itty bitty little Goyf. And here's a surgical on Jovan. So he took
the Oculus because he's surgically in the Oculus.
Wait, no, the Oculus is here. He took Persist.
He took Persist.
He's gonna take the outlet. So now Mike's gonna have to do it the hard way. Archon's most likely stuck uncastable in deck.
That's pretty good.
Pretty
good.
There they go.
So we'll have some time.
Unearth does still exist though, so Archon will read discard to target any other effect.
Yeah, so you could be.
Whoa! Excuse me.
Wait a minute. That was the black Overlord?
That was the white one.
The white Overlord?
That was Overlord of the Mistmores.
Make 2 1/2/1s?
Yeah, make 2/2/1 flyers. Mike, what's happening, bro? So would have been, again, I know Mike was playing creativity in the past few weeks, right?
Right.
Of having like really impactful cards out of your sideboard that you can bring in, knowing that it will serve a different role when you cheat it into play. The issue is Mike brought in this alternate target, but just lost his way to cheat.
Right.
And I don't believe we've seen a single white mana source.
I would be surprised if white mana was able to be produced in this Grixis Reanimator deck.
It's the same way if your creativity opponent brings in their Terrastodons and you take rid of all their creativities, they might never even look at or sniff or cast that spell. Mike is just hoping that the Overlord of the Mistmore stays as far down in the library as possible.
Yeah, you don't want to do not draw that. You don't
Right.
want to do it. This Temio, pretty good target for the lightning bolt. if you're Jovan, yeah.
Interesting. So Jovan had the options between bolt and push. So I was wondering which would be a more impactful target there because bolt could go face.
I think you want to save your push for fetch land, push your Oculus.
Or frog, right? We're
Or
Grixis
frog,
deck. They
yeah.
gotta have frog in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bolt. So, local regional champion Adam Weiss in chat wondering about these bolts, and I think we're seeing. Well, I guess it does kill Tamio, and at minimum, might kill Mike.
I guess if the burn player is telling you that bolt is bad, I guess
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree.
Maybe let it go. Maybe let it go.
It's like it represents reach and it kills Tamio and stuff. But
Jovan discarding a burning inquiry and now playing Hollowed One. And the inquiries make me wonder. Haven't seen the full extent of Jovan's deck, but those cards pair really well alongside Orcish Bowmaster as well. We haven't seen one yet throughout the course of this, but that's a nice 1-2 punch that Jovan could also have access to.
Bowmaster and then casting a Burning Inquiry is pretty sick.
It hurts. I know that much. It hurts.
Oh, I'm gonna have a whole bunch of really big guys, and also you're taking. I'm also bolting you.
And also, I hope your lands in hand don't become spells, or your spells become lands, or it throws off your whole plan and strategy. The amount of times I got turn 1 Burning Inquiry, and I go, I sure hope I have a keepable hand after this. Ooh.
Is Burning Inquiry a hymn to Turok?
Sure. And Frog hitting the ban off Mike Surveil, knowing that that's not a card that he's looking for, and instead I think trying to fuel up for putting this Oculus into play.
Yeah, I think we were just trying to cast this Oculus. Oh, that's an Ice Age swamp, by the way.
Okay, big shouts to the Ice Age Swamp.
I love the Ice Age. Ice Age basics, among my favorite basics. But then it's a Urza's or Tempest Mountain, so we could have had an Ice Age Mountain to go with it. So just some feedback.
Yeah, Jovan, if you could just accept some quick feedback. As the Detective Phoenix evidence is about to be collected here for Jovan, exiling a fellow Phoenix, an Inquiry, a push, and that Surgical, because neither of the two cards in play care about Delirium, right?
Yeah,
so here's my 6/6 Flyer Haste, getcha.
Nice 5/5 flying.
Yeah, meet my 6/6. And Mike is doing what Mike needs to do, right? He no longer has access to persist for his Archons, so instead he needs to lean on his Oculus plan. And so far he's got it, but Jovan's card's even bigger.
Yep, so we're casting EI here?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. A card that I'm also interested in casting in this format.
Counterspell, I think that was Counterspell White Card Land?
Well, put the counterspell into your hand, my good friend, and then put that land in exile and do what you need to do.
What's this? What was the white card?
Is it the Overlord again?
I don't think it was the Overlord. Or it could have just been like a strange foiling or something, but it looked like...
Oh, color me intrigued now.
Okay,
yep, exile the land. I imagine that's got to be the counterspell to hand, and then bin the bottom.
The mystery card to the bottom.
The world may never know.
The world may never know, yeah.
So, Mike, trying to find answers to this Hollow One, but even if you found, say, a Revolted Push, Hollow One is a 5 CMC card, just outside kind of the range of many of the normal interactive pieces that these Grixis tests would have.
Yeah, so we better hope that the 2-mana kill spell that a lot of these Grixis and Dimir decks are playing is not go for the throat. We better hope it's shoot the sheriff or something.
You better hope it's shoot the sheriff, or the one that we saw players earlier using to discard in Bitter Triumph.
Oh, Bitter Triumph, yeah. Or the Bloomborough one.
Feed the Cycle.
Feed the Cycle.
Big fan of Feed the Cycle.
Yeah, that's a cool one too.
It could be Murderous Cut, or it could be Hero's Downfall.
I think Shoot the Sheriff is probably the best of all of those, or maybe at this point the Bitter Triumph is. I still like the Go for the Throat the best because you get to use the 40k art. But I often will make negative EV plays
for cool factor
for vanity. So there's this card, right? It's called Break the Ice. You know what Break the Ice does? It kills Snowlands.
Yep.
You know what I play in my Merfolk deck for no value?
Snowlands. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
And here, effect is exactly that Bitter Triumph, pitching the Archon, dealing with Yovan's Hollow One, but follow up just a actual factual
just play it.
5-mana 4/4.
Play a 4/4. Yep.
Yeah.
Did we missed our Oculus.
Oculus trigger.
Yeah, we didn't manifest any dread last turn.
Yeah.
No, don't attack with your 2/2.
Hey, Energy Store, can you be cool in the chat real quick? What's going on over here? Calling out co-commentator
Oh.
May getting Sell the Wreckage a few weeks ago by Michael Ryan.
Oh, I remember that. That was. I think I put both of my hands on my forehead.
Yes.
I went like this.
Michael Ryan, in fact, did have Graveyard Hate, played out Nile Spellbomb, and now he's cracking it, kind of negating a lot of what Yovan's been doing this game. Mike remembering his Dread trigger this time.
Yep. Unearth to the bin. Not interested in Unearth anymore.
And has this face-up Stern Scolding, and
Oh,
Jovan
that's
says
it.
that's the game.
That's it.
Michael Ryan taking it down 2-0 in the Faithless Looting Mirror, a card that many people love, and we've been saying it, but we're back. All right, everyone, we're
so
back. We're so back. We are playing Faithless Lootings, Mox Opals, the One Ring, gone, Splinter Twin, back, and not even in the room out there today. Folks so excited to play everything else, and that speaks volume.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is that two of the Splinter Twinners are in the room with us.
Yes.
Right now.
Right. I know that. Yes, May and I have both made energy purchases. I bought one half of Twin, and you bought the other.
I bought the other half.
So we find ourselves in this situation. These games are tight. This format is awesome. And our backup match, our undefeated players wanted to jam. They wanted to battle. So let's check it out. So now it's on over. We're going to get these players set up real quick, figure out what life totals are, what game it is, get it all situated.
What do you think happened? Hammer's up. So that insane board state we looked at earlier ended with Hammer winning.
Right. That means Sam got to go through generating a lot of value. Oh, Sam Brown got to go through
Yeah.
a lot of value.
I think Sam's going to win this match.
Yeah, big shouts. So Sam Brown was able to put together a lot of advantage with the caddy manufacturer, but when we checked in, Sammy G had 2 to 3 hammers on a big boy, and you can have tons of stuff in play, but one guy with 2 bonk sticks, it doesn't take too much.
Speaking of bonk sticks, I see that we have a Saga on 2 and a Cigar to Sade and an Ink Moth Nexus.
Oh, the Ink Moth for Sam is big.
So Sam Brown has really got to find some interesting stuff basically this turn, or he's dead. He's face up dead.
Yeah.
Because we are, animate Ink Moth, right? Go
so,
fetch.
So if you're Sam, you need to use your Saga to animate Ink Moth before it pops.
Right.
So that when you go to find your hammer, put your trigger on the stack, your target is there and ready.
Right.
Then Sam can use his remaining mana to reactivate to re-give the Ink Moth flying.
Right. Oh, so okay, we have...
So if you're Sam, you would need to play this needle and name Ink Moth.
You need to play Ink Moth, yeah.
And I think you might have the Ink Moth
hopefully
Nexus.
you must have named Ink Moth, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Sam.
Thank you, Sams.
So in response, Sammy G here activated Saga to make sure that wasn't getting locked down, the same way that someone will crack their fetch just in case to be sure. And now here's a Haywire Might, also a card that's gonna eat Sam's Saga.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Never mind. I said that Sam needed to do, or Sam Brown needed to do something. He did everything.
He did a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then before cracking this Haywire Might, gets in with the big construct.
Bonk.
Who's the bonker now?
Yeah. Who's the bonk down? Right.
Who's the bonk down is good.
I think
that's so good. Here in the semi-rare, we're gonna find out who's the bonk down.
Bonk down.
Yeah, an energy article coming to you soon.
Back when the goose was a real thing. The gilded goose.
In Sam Brown's deck, by the way,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're saying is a real thing,
Oh,
he's playing it here today.
Well, mess with the honk.
You get the bonk.
You get the bonk.
Everyone knows it.
Everyone knows it. I think I stole that line from Carmen.
That sounds right. That sounds like
sounds
Carmen.
Like a Carmen line.
Oh, Sam G looking at the leftovers after his Saga's been taken away from him.
It's a 1/1.
Yeah.
Nope, it's a 2/2.
Nope, it's an 11-11.
Nope, it's an 11-11.
It's a 12-12. Math is hard. Math is hard. I bet this is a fatal push. And then
No.
Sammy G is gonna play a Surge of Salvation
That, I think.
or a blacksmith skill.
That lines up. Yep, here we go. Oh no, Sam. Sammy G.
This Sam on Sam violence will not be standard for here in
Yeah.
the NRG on our magical Christmas week.
How could you?
Sam Brown for the memes should have pithy needled Mox Opal
That's a bluff.
in many ways.
You can name it.
You sure could name it.
It doesn't stop.
Doesn't stop it. And here is, yeah, that's right. It's Gingerbread Cabin. And Sam Brown, with the 3 other forests in play, makes a food. Then activates Unrolled Cookbook, makes a food, and plays Asmo with 2 foods in play, which means if Sam Brown needs to kill something, there's 2 foods to force feed someone to eat themselves to death.
This is looking pretty over, huh?
Yeah. But if Sam G finds another hammer and another land, this ink moth can still
Nope.
Nope.
Sure can't.
Needs to also get a protection spell.
Well, no, but the Pithing Needle says the ink moth is a land. It just.
I'm a big fan of when something gets pithy needled of writing it down and putting it on top of there, because this happened a minute ago, and I was like,
but it's late, and
yeah, okay. I've been thinking about Boros Splinter Twin all day. Okay, I'm tired.
No, I'm with you.
And I'm just kidding. We're just getting started, baby. This construct coming in for business.
Yeah. So we have 2 foods and a Pithing Needle and 2 cookbooks.
Whoa. As we have those foods off to the far left, you'll see for Sam Brown, it's got those little tiny dice on there. That's because he knows that he's going to be counting pretty high. So he has to use his personal dice because the number's going to keep going up.
When I said it was over, actually, I meant we're so back. What I meant was that Hammer Time is a great deck.
Yep.
And suddenly you're getting another hammer. You've got a paladin in your hand, and before you even know what is about to happen, you're threatening 20 damage in the air.
Yeah.
Well, not in the air, but you know what I mean.
And all of this fueled by Mox Opal being an available mana source here for Sammy G. Because
Well, it kind of is in the air because you're swinging.
Yeah. So what this allows is Sam G gets to keep the hammer as basically a counter spell to the activation of Asmo, and Sam gets to keep the activation of Asmo to answer back. So it's kind of got that back and forth of who's going to blink first. That is very common through kind of these mid to late stage games of Modern Magic.
Well, isn't it also interesting that you can be like, okay, make some food for Asmo, shoot it. Play hammer. Okay, but wait, make 2 more foods, shoot it again. Right?
But Sam would need to have exactly oval chase Daredevil in hand to be able to start double feeding things into these.
Oh, he only has the 1 card.
Yeah.
Right. So we are putting him under the bus. Decor.
Yeah, the Stoneforge has done what Stoneforge needs to do. And here's this hammer.
Play the hammer.
Forcing action.
Okay, so we... Oh, because we don't...
Sam straight up using the Stoneforge to put this into play.
When I said it was all over, did Sam Brown just lose here? Nope, blocker.
No. And also, currently, right, the Mox Opal is the second way for the Pure Steel. That's right.
Yep. So...
currently at 0 foods for Sam Brown.
Yeah, so we got
Pure
Paladin.
Steel. Now the thing is both of these get moved down to the Ornithopter. The Ornithopter loses flying. The hammer is just so heavy.
It's too heavy, yeah.
It's just so heavy.
Well, the frog could fly anyway.
Right.
So frog...
sentences you didn't know you'd utter, but the frog can fly and the hammer too heavy.
Yeah. Oh, we're not even attacking. I guess we're at 7, so...
Yeah, Sam's got to be careful. Asmo is a 3/3, and that's a frog, so. And the construct, currently a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And Sam splitting the hammers to have 2 massive blockers here.
2 massive blockers and also protecting his entire board from Asmo foods, which is also pretty important.
Yes.
Because you don't want to overload, right?
One of the parts that I think can start to separate hammer players from like really good hammer players is the forgotten stage of post-combat re-equipping to make sure that like blocking and response to removals is also set up in the same way that Sam here is making sure to split his hammers to kind of keep everybody safe.
Wait. New to modern card, spotted in hand, Green Sun Zenith.
From Sam?
From
Sam Brown?
From Sam Brown.
Sam, what are you finding with your Green Suns?
With your Green Suns?
Okay.
It's not oof because you would have found it already, right?
Well, Sam would. That would shut off.
Oh,
Sam's
never
deck
mind.
too,
Yeah.
right? Which I would agree.
See, I think about what's good. What's good against my opponent. It doesn't matter what's good against me.
Yes. Here's the move. Oh, Sam, I love this bluff. This attack with this Ornithopter. What happens now is he's taking it back, so the bluff's gone. But if he just immediately turned that sideways, would said I have a hammer in hand.
Right. No. Okay. Never mind. We're doing it all over again.
But again, you said Sam here. He is at 7. So if he tries to go aggro, he could almost oopsie himself on the fight back from Sam Brown.
Right. Because you only have to block one of these. Well, no. If there's a hammer in hand,
Right.
you do have to. You're priced into maybe blocking both of them.
Yeah.
Or are we just saying go? Oh, we have a hammer in hand. Of course we do. They always got the hammer.
And is the other card a protection spell, but no white to
Well,
hold
there's
it
no
up?
white. I don't
Yeah.
know what the other card was.
Ooh.
Or rather, I didn't see what that card was.
Right, we all know. Oh, it is a Daredevil.
Oh, it is.
Sam Brown does have the ability to double feed each turn to let this Asmo really pop off.
So when I said it was Green Sun Zenith, I was wrong.
Oh,
I
that's
take
okay.
it all back. It was
Is it
Old
Daredevil?
Chase this whole time.
Yeah. I think
I'm
the
just
only
excited. I see what I want to see.
Yeah.
The heart wants what it wants.
we saw Green Sun today. We saw Mox Opal today. We saw Faithless Looting today. If you would have asked me of the 4 cards unbanned, which one we would not see, I would have been super wrong.
Yeah, I also would have been. But then Kai also isn't here. Kai.
That's what I said. I was
Kai
like,
would be
our
registering.
Blue-Red Wizards player not currently in attendance would have definitely been the one to register Splinter Twin if anyone. And I should have just offered the hand the deck list to someone.
Right.
But they're all really excited to play this new return to a lot of favorites. Sam Brown, I bet, could have also played Mox Opal if he had access in this deck that's making tons of artifacts.
That makes sense.
There's just a lot of hammers and sagas and stuff sitting around. It's hard because the card is so good that it's going to make people want to put it in decks, and the question will be, is it good in the decks they want to put it in? And don't forget these Pure Shields draw cards, so this Colossus Hammer drew 2 for Sam G as well.
So after all that, we didn't even attack.
Because Sam, I think, is really worried about the crackback from Sam Brown.
No, it makes sense.
And the construct grows, right? As Sam Brown double loops through this Daredevil each turn.
I think Sam Brown should have 2 foods. So it looks like he wound up to 2, and then Sam G said, actually, wait, I want to do...
Sam just noticed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going up to 4 foods.
The classic, my opponent responded, and I didn't finish doing my thing.
So we're...
Whoa. Because if
Oh,
you
'cause-
feed 4 food,
Yeah.
it'll deal 12 to itself.
Yep. Okay, so we're killing that with 12 foods.
And he chose the Ornithopter instead of killing a Pure Steel.
Yep.
Even though the Pure Steels are also 12/12s that could have died to double food.
So we're putting 2...
Oh.
Oh, did he think the frog... He probably thought the Ornithopter had flying.
Oh, you're right. So make sure to remove the flyer to get in with the frog. Drew another frog.
But the hammers are too heavy.
Hammers are too heavy.
Yeah.
The hammers are too heavy. These beautiful Lost Caverns of Ixalan bonus sheet ones, still too heavy.
Still too heavy. They do, in fact, make the Ornithopter not fly. All right.
In the next year, do you believe there will be a secret layer where we get Colossus Hammer as Thor's Hammer from the Marvels expansions?
I mean, I feel like we're definitely getting a Marvel secret layer with Thor's hammer.
Yes.
And now, whether it's going to be this hammer or it's going to be another reskin Sword of Blank and Blank.
Or reskin of what's the Boros one that you pick up and get a spell?
Oh,
and then pick up and get a
Sunforger.
spell? Yeah.
Yeah.
would also be a sick.
Would also be a good Thor's hammer. There aren't any like impactful equipments that you throw really.
Yeah, give me more things I throw at my opponent. Sam
Can I
G.
interest you in Captain America?
The card is super cool.
The card is super cool. They changed the templating so that he could be red, white, and blue.
Yes, they did. Right, the movement of the mana costs around. Sam scooping it up. I think Sam Brown developed enough of an engine that Sam G realizing that he's going to lose his board over and over and over and over and over.
I think he was just dead in the air to frogs. He's at 4. Need 4 power worth frogs.
What you said is also true. And these are our undefeated players. Week 1, return to brand new Boomer Zoomer Modern Knights, the release of some of people's favorite cards in Magic. And it all comes down.
Oh, fair enough.
And this all comes down to food combo versus hammer time as our undefeated players. They're chuckling about something. I'm excited to hear what happened.
That's what he wrote on the note. It says bathroom on there.
Oh, it's this, on the tiny little yeah.
Couldn't write Ink Moth Nexus for his Pitsy Needle, but wrote bathroom on the tiniest slip of paper possible.
Thank you.
Really appreciated, Sam. Big shouts. But yeah, I like the fact that on this week of all weeks, the undefeated table being our Samir, as NRG Store is putting it in chat, as, yeah, you guessed it, hammer time, which is, I guess, so back.
We're so back.
Playing against food combo that nobody ever thinks about, but there's one pilot around here, and it's Sam Brown. And when he shows up, you know that he's got food for everyone.
So what other Boomer cards are you looking forward to getting unbanned? Or you think would even be safe to unbanned?
Jitte.
Well, Jitte, obviously.
Jitte's so boring and easy to unban, it won't do anything.
Can we call it Jitte time? Or still, would Hammer Time even play Jitte?
No. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't kill your opponent. And Hammer... What?
It don't bonk hard enough.
It does not bonk nearly hard enough, says Haviva over in a booth, right? Hammer Time is about putting the biggest, nastiest, bonkiest... Either it's your hammers or it's your coat, right?
Yeah.
Or your Shadow Spear or your boots. You got your boots on, you're holding your spear, and you got your hammer, and you're ready to go to work. And in none of that do they go, and take this teeny tiny sword too. Doesn't do anything.
So Jitte, Punishing Fire.
Yes, I saw Punishing Fire is probably a safe ban, but a boring one, right?
But yeah.
And I need to buy my Grove of the Burn Willows before they go up.
What about Glimpse of Nature? Safe?
Pyroclasm is one of the most frequently played sideboard cards as of last week, and who knows moving forward? Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, but by the time your Elves player untaps, Pyroclasm does not kill their board.
Okay, sure. And you can have the artifact lands back.
No, only the green one, they say.
Okay, just the green one?
Just the green one is unbanned.
How about I'll say just the black one?
Nope, up to no good.
Okay, just the green one. Yeah, I don't even know what else is on the ban list from the boomer days. We got Deathrite, Jace, Stoneforge.
Deathrite is still banned.
Or I'm sorry, yeah, we got Bloodbraid.
We got Bloodbraid and Jace back, yeah.
The cards that have done nothing since their removal. Stoneforge made a deck and a half in Hammer Time, and some people play Stoneblade.
Bloodbraid got beans banned.
Oh yeah, that just like oops, just here's all my beans. Yeah.
Oko, safe unban?
No. Well, my opponent's tapping out for 3 mana to play. Once Upon a Time, absolutely not. We cannot give more toys to Amulet Titan. Everyone will go, oh, it'll be so fun with Eternal Witness and stuff. It's like, no. They're going to just have a guaranteed Titan all game, every game. Actually, so Oko is your opponent tapping out on 3 to kind of do nothing. Sadly, might be okay.
We power crept Oko. Yeah, I mean, Oko might be okay. Uro, probably not okay. Uro, not okay.
Flage was on my to-be ban list, so I don't want his bigger brother to come back.
Yeah, we don't need him.
Because
Ponder?
Sure. Whatever, right? No, maybe not Ponder. I guess I don't want my like Belcher opponent just like setting up for 2 turns or whatever off a Ponder.
Oh.
Memnite's here.
Webnight activated. Why are you at 19? You should be at 18. That's a fetch. That's a shock land.
He's trying. He's trying.
It's late.
Yeah, it's late. You're right.
Okay, here we go.
Wait, now he's. Oh no, he's not taking any damage because the Memnite doesn't cost anything.
Sure doesn't.
Wait, here comes the bonk.
Here
Nope.
comes the. Aw.
No.
Well, Josh, big shouts. Thanks for stopping by in chat. I hope you had a great time coming back and playing Magic. We missed you. It was good to see you, and you were out here getting your merfolk on.
I like the Dimir Merfolk. I made the Dimir Merfolk to play last week, and then got sick and didn't come out.
The worst. The frog folk were coming.
The frog folk were coming, yeah.
In chat as we continue kind of our Boomer Zoomer unbanning.
Oh,
Probe is not. So I love the intense power of playing a Thoughtseize because you gain a lot of information, and I don't want to give every deck that for free.
You don't want to give all of these like Phoenix decks also another.
No,
you want to give them a free card draw?
No, I really tried to get Phoenix on camera today too. We got juked with what I thought was someone playing Hammer or playing Phoenix, but this teeny tiny 1 point of infect comes across. Now we're using notes. This is Sam. No,
poise on,
brother. You know, some people lead different lives, and shout out to Sam Brown doing his. But in Lane Master, you cannot have Get Probe back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Get Probe, no. Second Sunrise, also somebody mentioned. I think no.
No.
But
there are some cards that need to remain on the ban
Ironworks,
list for the fun factor or the time factor. The same way Sensei's Divining Top will remain banned forever. You can't have Sunrise for the same reason. There's a million other things to break. Just play Grinding Station.
Yeah, just play Grinding Station.
Just play Grinding Station.
Yeah, let's unban Brainstorm.
No, you can't have Brainstorm. Then Legacy has 0 identity. And that's just the truth.
We have Brain Surge.
Wow, you're right. We have Brain Surge. You know, I expected one unban and it to be a nonsensical, useless one. The fact that I took my Splinter Twins out of my bag and put them into sleeves will be a moment I will never forget.
I always think about buying Splinter Twins, and I was like, you know what? This time I'm not going to do it. And I had my Felford Again Award Wojak tweets literally scheduled about Splinter Twin, and I had to delete it.
Had to delete it.
I had to delete it.
May had a great joke she was going to start today's stream with. Had to delete it.
Yeah, had to delete it.
You'll never know. Had to delete it. And here we are instead with Sam Brown with 1 Poison attacking with this Construct token. And these players kind of playing a very fair version of what we've seen play out in games number 1 and 2. Sam G has the Hammer and Aid that we saw from him kind of trying to go for it on turn number 2. Now in the rebuilding phases, and Sam Brown in the building phases, getting double Cookbook, Asmo, and a Construct. And here this comes for a second Poison.
Poison. The thing is, though, you draw a Hammer at any point, and your opponent just dies.
Get him. Also, if Sam G draws a Pure Steel Paladin, this is exactly play Pure Steel, animate Inkmoth, have a Metalcraft move it.
Right. I mean, we're building up a lot of Asmo foods here, but I think we do have a protection spell in hand.
I always forget about the foods. I'm like, oh, I have my 4/4, and they're like, no, you don't.
Oh, now the on in Poison is also covered up, so it just says Poise.
This is the Poise 2.
Yeah, it's actually so Poise, right? Those like things that fire spinners go around with.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just think
this is the kind of expert commentary you get when you bring me in.
Yeah, this is really big and important. Not a Green Sun Zenith out of Sam Brown's hand here, but does have Finale of Devastation.
Finale of Devastation.
So talk about what players leaned on before. A card that I used to kill in Nadu. Imagine if that deck had Green Sun Zenith.
Oh my god. Could you? I don't want to imagine.
I can't imagine.
The deck was good enough without it.
With Chord and Finale of Devastation in it. And here comes the Finale out of Sam Brown. Also, big shout out to Sam Brown playing my favorite forest currently in Magic.
That is a great forest.
It's just so beautiful and vibrant.
Oh, okay. There's the goose.
The goose is loose.
Goose is loose.
Mess with the honk.
Get the bonk. How big is this construct right now?
Okay, so it's a 5, 6,
6, 7, 8.
8. Yeah. Sammy G, it's time for some Ink Moth tricks, and that's the game. Sam Brown, no cards returning to the format for him, taking down Mox Opal Hammer Time. Here is our undefeated player in Magical Christmas Land, here from the Nerd Rage Gaming home store in Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Thank you all so much for joining, but we got some goodies that we're going to chat about real quick, so don't go anywhere. We're clicking buttons, and it's that weekly schedule. Again, you're here Wednesdays for MTG Modern. Thursdays, you're going to see EDH and Pokemon. Fridays, that Boomer Zoomer we've been talking about. Legacy Standard FNM as long as One Piece. Saturday, Digimon that loops back to that Monday Digimon Elder Dragon Highlander. And Tuesday, One Piece Lorcana. So many games being played here at the store, even more games being added. It feels like daily, maybe weekly. If there's a game and you want to play it, you can probably play it right here in Buffalo Grove, Illinois at the Nerd Rage Gaming home store. Any additional stuff that you may need, you can find. We were talking before, use the wish list feature. There's so many cool things being released into formats, standard, new sets, unbannings, new decks showing up, and if you are looking for those cards, you can hopefully find them at nerdragegaming.com. You get a little bit of kickback, so the more you spend, the more you're going to make back, as well as using that wish list function so that you can be notified immediately when they list a card that you have been waiting for.
Like Fortnite basics.
Like those Fortnite basics. And if you want to chat with fellow Magic players, whether it's for the NRG series at large or with the local players here at the Nerd Rage Gaming home store, you can connect with them on Discord. Use that beautiful, lovely QR code or that link tree. Find those places, make those connections. Remember that the NRG series event to kick off next year in Elmhurst is going to be a team event. So if you find yourself to be a strong player in a strong format, if you're a strong player in a strong format, but you are looking for somebody to work with, that's going to be the place to find it for that very, very first event there on that Sunday in March. You can play a showdown and a trial in Madison, Wisconsin, May 10th and 11th, back to Mundelein, Chicagoland area. And then June for that double, count it double, showdown weekend as we return to Indianapolis and hopefully no concerts kick us out of town. With all that being said, thank you all so much for joining us.
What?
Thank you.